What's going on, friends? It's Anton Daniels, and I gotta have a conversation with you guys about Tiege Hanley because you see how the sun is hitting me. This is no finesse, no makeup, no filters, no none of that. This is 100% Tiege Hanley. I use it in the morning as soon as I get up, right after I pray and brush my teeth, jump in the shower, and I'm hitting the streets because you never get a second chance to make a first impression. So even though they're giving you 40% off your first order, 20% off for life, even though you may get a free gift, forget all that, right? Because we would do this even if it was full price because it's worth that much. I'm in the streets, I'm kicking it with people, and I see Dusties everywhere. You don't want to be them. You want to separate yourself. And the way that you separate yourself is self care. Ladies get it for the fellas. Fellas don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. I'm about to hit the streets right now, and I'm feeling confident. I'm feeling great. I mean, I already got confidence, but to have that extra boost of confidence, knowing that you've taken care of yourself and you set yourself apart from all of the rest of the sheep that's walking around making bad decisions on a daily basis. And it's reflected in their actions. It's reflected in the products that they use. It's reflected in the people that they follow. And so if you're trying to level up, if you're trying to make sure that you look good, they're going to send you the pack. They're going to give you all of the instructions on how you're supposed to use it. Then make sure you get your Tiege Hanley. Again, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. Get your free gift. Make sure you tap in with your boy Anton Daniels because Unc is never going to lead you wrong. I would never have you use a product that I don't use myself. Again, they've been rocking with me for a long time. Make sure you get your Tiege Hanley. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to holler at you guys later. What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Thank you for tuning in for another edition of the Millionaire Morning Show. I am your host, Anton Daniels. Hopefully, you guys can hear me well. I decided that I needed to work from home today simply because I had to be on site for a lot of the contractors over at the property. And so we were meeting with a lot of the contractors. I literally just walked back into the door probably about 45 minutes ago for meeting with the contractor. So hopefully you can excuse my appearance on this rare Friday where I don't have a button-up shirt. I have to apologize to you guys for that, but I do have a phenomenal show lined up for you guys, which includes Jasmine Crockett's appearance on The View. Elon Musk and JD Vance was at CPAC. We also have Venezuelan migrants landing back home and Trump cutting off funding for migrants. And then we had an interesting discussion about an attack on masculinity on CNN after something that JD Vance said at CPAC. So it's a lot to cover today. What's going on, friends? How y'all feel? No, I can't. I couldn't miss. I even considered pushing this back to Saturday, but I don't like that. I don't like messing up the vibes. I don't like messing up the schedule that we have going on. So I'm absolutely going to stay focused, and we're going to have a great conversation. Did y'all see After Hours last night? Oh my God, this has been a wild After Hours these last couple of days. I don't know what's in the water. I don't know what's going on. But the one thing that I do know is that we put on the best late night show anywhere. I ain't even just gonna say YouTube. I'm gonna just say anywhere. We put on the best, no exaggeration, the best late night show. You seen it? K Cooper, you missed it. Enos, you seen it? After Hours was crazy, Lawrence. Oh my God. I'm gonna add timestamps after we get done with this show, but After Hours was absolutely insane. And I gotta figure it out. I gotta figure it out. I gotta figure out how I can somehow, some way get the ladies to love each other, for the fellas to love each other. Chrissy, you love jazz? Well, I love Molly. So shout out to my girl Molly. Shout out to everybody that was on the panel last night. But we have After Hours tonight, so I would advise you guys to go ahead and check in the After Hours. If you have not already, I would also advocate for you guys to go and tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Also, Tiege Hanley, 40% off your first order plus 20% off of life. And then last but not least, if you guys have not subscribed to this channel as well as After Hours and the Anton Daniels channel, I would implore you guys to do so because we absolutely put on the greatest content. We never miss, and we are the most consistent streamers in the world, the most consistent. All right. Anyways, what's going on, y'all? How y'all feel today? How y'all feel on this Friday? I feel weird, honestly. I feel incredibly weird because I got on a t-shirt. I'm used to being in the studio. But again, I had to meet with the contractors today because work don't stop. Very, very interesting. I don't know if you guys seen some of the progress of some of the properties that I've been building. We got Block Club this weekend, so I'm actually going to take the people through all of the different things that I got going on, but it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So this is one of the properties. We actually got the siding on, the doors is up, everything is up. So that's what it looks like. The latest home that we building. So that should be absolutely awesome. All right. And yeah, man, it's a lot going on in 2025, but we happy to be busy. And I love working. I'm probably going to work until I die because I feel like that I'm doing some really productive things and life is awesome. All right. Y'all ready to get started with the show? Let me read a couple of these cash apps really quickly because I got to acknowledge the people that support the platform. And let's see what we got going on here. Mike, that dude. Shout out to my dog, Mike, that dude. I appreciate you for holding me down. Jamaica H. Shout out to Jamaica H. I appreciate you. Will, I love you, man. Thank you, my friend. And Robert Chapman. Shout out to Robert Chapman. And Jenny Jackson. And Rand Wilson. Shout out to all of my friends on Cash App. Let me also read some of these. Rahi Dash says, what's up, Anton? Whether people agree or disagree, bring Jasmine on the panel last night was great content. Name that timestamp, the Jazz Invasion. Jesus Christ. Showcase Classic says, good morning, Anton. And chat after hours was great last night. I love it when it goes over 3 hours. Jazz is definitely a good addition. Jazz and Carrie together. Watch out, Anton. I feel tired. Work 2 full-time jobs. That's a blessing, number one. To have 2 full-time jobs is a blessing when you're thinking about the fact that it's a lot of people that's getting laid off today. So if you are working 2 full-time jobs, live off of one income, make sure that you're spending the other income on investments and paying off debt. All right, you got it. It doesn't last a long time, but if you endure, you'll be fine. I work hours that is way beyond 2 full-time jobs. I think the people know that. What up, Anton? Things got crazy last night. It absolutely did. Yeah, I got to figure it out. I got to figure out a space where people feel. I want it to be a family affair. I mean, I know that we fight as family sometimes, but I want everybody to be comfortable. You know what I'm saying? I don't want that. I'm not interested in all of that. Latrell, shout out to Latrell. I appreciate you and everybody that continues to hold us down. All right, y'all. Y'all ready? Y'all ready to get into the show? Make sure you hit a like for the algorithm. Also, if you've been here more than once, make sure you subscribe to the channel and send us to your family and friends. Let's deep dive into it. All right. So we got a lot to cover. I want to start with migrants first. All right. So migrants being deported and arriving back home to Venezuela. But first, I want to talk about Trump cutting off funding. Again, make sure you hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's rock.
Since President Trump took office, the number of migrants coming here has dropped significantly, I should say, and it looks like the funding here could follow.
In some cases, this is something that should be rethought of more carefully to make sure that those that depend on those funding should be able to continue to be given that opportunity to care, continue that service of caring for humanity, because it's something that we as a country can definitely provide that assistance in what is already happening. And so I hope that is looked at more carefully.
Yeah, Sister Norma Pimentel, that's who you just heard from. She's the executive director here at the shelter. She says their numbers just got less busy after President Biden's executive order limiting asylum claims. But now with Trump's immigration crackdown, it is completely empty.
So that means that y'all don't need no more funding then, right?
really been the trend for the past month, or at least since January 20th. Now, this month, the shelter's on track to receive little to no families in seek of help. That's a big drop, though, to put this into perspective for you, from the thousands that they helped in the last month and the months before that. Now, the staff still offers food, medicine, and shelter for folks, but Trump's funding cuts could put those resources at risk.
Just cutting everyone from those funds is going to hurt a lot of people that need that care and that attention. And my hopes are that Congress will carefully make decisions before they decide to cut everything from those that really need to be helped.
Listen, this is what we found out, is that we don't need any more handouts. And you know what else I've learned about people? I've learned that people are incredibly resilient. They're 100% resilient. When you start forcing people off of government assistance, which obviously I believe that American taxpayer dollars should go to Americans and it shouldn't go to other people, it's just a way for them to continue to funnel money and money launder, because somebody at the top is getting paid way more than whatever it is that they distribute into y'all. But when you start to force people to go to work and take care of business, you know what I found? They do it. They do it. As long as you let people continue to be on the nipple, that's how they're going to suck. But you got to wean. You got to wean that child off the nipple, and it is time for countries to say, we should not be funding other countries' well-being. We should not be the ones that determine whether or not you guys are taking care of business or not. And as long as we continue to do it, as long as we continue to fund it, as long as we continue to do whatever it is that they want us to do, guess what? They're going to take advantage of it. They're not going to stop. They're not going to start doing things differently. They're not going to start taking care of business and all of that. You know what they're going to do? Keep taking the money. I have never seen anybody that's gotten handouts say, you know what? I'm done with handouts. I don't want them anymore. I've never seen people that take advantage of the system say, you know what? I'm going to stop taking advantage of the system now. I've never seen people that finesse in the government contracts and getting paid to do stuff that they're not supposed to do say, you know what? I'm done with that right now. I've never seen people that's finessing and working from home say, you know, I really don't need to work from home anymore. I would be more productive inside of the office. You have never seen anybody actually get off the nipple that has been able to just continue to take advantage of a system forever. I have never in my life seen somebody that is unproductive, because the argument is always going to be, well, people that work from home are way more productive. Shut up. Shut up. Shut that nonsense up, bro. You and I, all of us, we know too many people, whether it be online or in real life, we know too many people that be out there getting their nails done when they're supposed to be working from home. We know too many people that be out there taking vacations, hanging out with their girls, got the mouse track. Why is the mouse trackers? Why is the mouse wigglers? Why was those sold out? Why was it so hard to get mouse wigglers if everybody is being productive at home? I just want to know. Why was mouse wigglers one of the number one selling things over the last 3 to 4 years if everybody is so productive working from home? Somebody said working from, not all folks do that though. Man, listen. Time to go back. Time to get off the nipple. These are Venezuelan migrants being deported back to their country and finally arriving back home.
On the tarmac at Venezuela's main international airport. And you are seeing now yet another deportation flight with Venezuelans deported from the U.S. By the way of Honduras, and it landed there in Caracas. And so you've been seeing some of this undocumented migrants step down the plane there, and they're wearing all white.
Back
kind
up,
of in these white sweatsuits, gray sweatsuits with masks, red masks.
He been eating good.
And you see them there. So looks like the feed isn't the best. But this is the second time.
Hey, let me ask y'all a question also. How come it's all guys? How come when we start talking about all of the people that were coming over into this country and all of the people that were taking advantage of the resources and all of the people that's now getting deported, they are all guys, all men, shapes, sizes, ages, they all men, and now they acting like they really want to be home. Then why was y'all fighting? How come y'all didn't self-deport? Now they, oh man, I'm so happy to be back on Venezuelan land. That's because you was over there in Guantanamo Bay. Why was you fighting to get back? You know what I'm saying? Fighting going back if you were so ready to get back to your home country.
We have seen this in just a matter of weeks. And you remember mere weeks ago, U.S. Special Envoy Rick Grinnell traveled to Venezuela, brokered with the Venezuelan government. Remember, the previous Biden administration does not recognize Venezuela's autocratic leader, Nicolas Maduro, as the duly elected leader of Venezuela. Nonetheless, the Trump administration brokered a deal with the Maduro government in order for the United States to send some of these deportation flights to Venezuela to return some of these undocumented migrants who were from Venezuela in the first place. And that's what you're seeing right now, some of them. So remember, during the Biden administration, there was a cutoff, a particular date that if a Venezuelan undocumented migrant made it to the United States by whatever means, they would be shielded from deportation under this designation known as Temporary Protected Status, TPS. And so now, of course, with the Trump administration, that is no longer operative. And that is why you are seeing some of these undocumented Venezuelan migrants return now to their country of origin. Now, remember, a large majority of these individuals in the United States and in Venezuela are either accused of and or convicted of committing crimes.
Jesus.
And so remember, Tom Homan, the border czar for the Trump administration, said when it comes to deporting some of these undocumented migrants, he says, the worst are going to be the first, meaning that the worst of them will be deported first. And presumably that's what you are seeing right now. And a lot of them are coming off this deportation flight. This is powered there by the airline Conviasa. And so a lot of these airport workers on the tarmac right now. And we're seeing a similar uniform, kind of a gray and white sweatsuit there, red masks covering some of their faces, some of their mouths. And remember, here on Live Now from Fox, we have covered extensively the crackdown on this Venezuelan gang within the United States, and they have seemingly found safe harbor illegally. That gang, remember, TDA, Tren de Aragua, it originated in a Venezuelan prison.
Yeah, it's time to go home. Everybody got to go home. Everybody got to go home. We don't want your culture. We don't want the way that y'all go about doing things. We're not interested in how it is that y'all take care of business. Everybody got to go home. I'm glad that y'all excited to be there. That means that y'all not going to go ahead and come back. As far as I know, when you get deported, right, meaning that you got caught doing something that you're not supposed to do. And I've seen plenty of Trump administration officials talk about this online. And I'm going to go over to Tom Homan right now. When you get deported, all right, that means that you cannot come back now. If you didn't go about doing it the right way, if you didn't take care of business, if you was not on top of things, that means that you cannot come back.
Good to have you with us, Tom. I want to play a couple sound bites. This is Bill Clinton and President Clinton and President Obama talking about curbing these kinds of policies and entitlements for people who are here illegally. Watch.
By cracking down on illegal hiring, by barring welfare benefits to illegal aliens. In the budget I will present to you, we will try to do more to speed the deportation of illegal aliens who are arrested for crimes.
All of us take offense to anyone who reaps the rewards of living in America without taking on the responsibilities of living in America.
So that was the language of those former presidents, Tom. We did not hear.
Let's back up for a minute. So I'm assuming that if we had just as much social media presence back then as we do now, which we had a little bit during the Obama administration. But I was alive and I was outside in both of these people's administration. I was at least old enough to remember and pay attention to what was going on. You know what I remember? I remember that during the Clinton administration, in which they actually fired almost 400,000 federal workers and laid them off in order to right size the government so that they can have a government surplus, which we did. And during the Obama administration, when he was called the deporter in chief and he was getting people up out of here, nobody held him accountable for it. Nobody said that he was a monster. Nobody said that these people need to be able to stay inside of the United States of America. The worst that they said was don't have children in cages and don't separate families. Trump saw for that. He said, okay, cool. Well, everybody can go at the same time if y'all decide that that's what y'all want to do. I'm going to give y'all a choice. But nobody held neither Clinton nor Obama accountable, yet we see Democrats and raging liberals today going all the way off the deep end. And for some reason, we're supposed to have a different sentiment and let everybody, even though the United States of America is worse off than it's ever been as far as the federal deficit. We're worse off than we've ever been. But they stood there right in front of the White House with these cameras on. And even in 2014, this wasn't even 2008. In 2014, Obama, 2 years before Trump started to campaign and eventually took office in 2017, Obama was the one that said, hey, listen, we need to get everybody out here. This was not even that long ago. This was less than 8 years ago. Obama stood up and said, we should not have people taking advantage of what's happening inside of the United States of America. And more importantly, we need to get these people back to their home countries. He was the one that was called the deporter in chief. And yet we sit here and we try to hold Trump accountable for the very same policies and the very same things that he's done as his predecessors. And I've given Obama credit for this. I've given Clinton credit for that. But this just shows you that most people don't necessarily hate what we're doing. They're finding a reason to hate Trump. Let's go back to Tom Homan and see what he has to say.
Hear a lot of that from President Biden. And now President Trump is rolling back and reinstituting really this congressional law that prohibits spending federal dollars on these different programs for people who are here illegally. Is that another deterrence aspect? I mean, how do you think that impacts the numbers that you have to deal with?
Well, absolutely right. I mean, Griff was right. I mean, I, for one, have been complaining about this for decades. I mean, I've been doing this 41 years. I started in 1984 in the Border Patrol. And yeah, Clinton and Obama said the right things. They talked the talk, but they didn't walk the walk because the agencies didn't really get into the misuse of these social services, social funding. And President Biden fell off the face of the earth with it. We're in the multi-billions of dollars. And 130,000 of social services per illegal alien, that's more than most Americans make a year in the salary. So it is a major driver. I mean, I'm doing this a long time. I don't know how many times you hit a load house full of illegal aliens waiting for payment to get released to the people who smuggle them in the country, and how many, welfare cards and food stamps and social services envelopes you see all around these homes. This has been going on for decades, and don't thank God for those, because look, these billions of dollars we're going to save that illegal aliens shouldn't be getting, they can help rebuild North Carolina. They can help rebuild California, where they're devastated by these fires. In Kentucky, there's a lot of things we can do for American citizens, the homeless vets, where these billions of dollars are illegally being given to people who aren't supposed to be here.
I know how strongly you feel about human trafficking and sex trafficking and slave labor. I'm wondering how much of this money went into the pockets of cartels to run this business.
Forget the cartels. I want to know how much of the money went into the pockets of the politicians and their family members and their friends and their donors. We know the cartel has been fleecing American taxpayers and has been getting money and has partially been funded by the federal government here in the United States of America. We know that. I want to know who are the people that are signing over and making sure that they fund a lot of this stuff that's happening with the cartel members. That's what I want to know. honestly, I'm never going to be satisfied until we flush out a lot of these politicians and a lot of these people that's playing out things behind the scenes. This is why Democrats and politicians are fearing. They're fear mongering. They're 100% trying to make sure that the people are scared. Oh my God, this is what's going to happen. No, it's just that the more you cut, the more you start to find out, the more that you audit, the more that you deport, the more that you start to actually do things the right way, you got to flush out the swamp. You then get to see the people that's behind the mask. Y'all want to know who the boogeyman is? Y'all want to know who the people are that's created this system, this systematic oppression? You know that word that black people like to use a lot? Well, you about to find out because we only a month in. Yesterday was a month in. Now you get to see eventually, and this is why they're scrambling. I have never, ever in my lifetime, we're going to go into Jasmine Crockett today. And I don't even believe that Jasmine Crockett has done anything wrong because she hasn't had enough time to get rich off of what's going on. But I've never seen people like Bernie Sanders and all of these people. They have a full on. And I believe that Jasmine Crockett is supposed to be the next face of the Democratic Party, her and AOC, right? Because they're the ones, that's the new blood, the new faces. And I think that they have a battery in their back by the Democratic Party to continue to push and try to go against Elon Musk and Trump. And they have a full-on assault, Jasmine Crockett is on tour. She does more media and more press. I don't even know if she really even doing any jobs for Congress. What does Congress do if Jasmine Crockett is on The View? She is on MSNBC. She is on everything. She just did The Breakfast Club. She was over in New York. She went from The View to The Breakfast Club right after that. I have never seen Democrats on a full-on advertising media buzz. Bernie Sanders is asking for money to donate and all of this stuff. I see a full-on assault from Democrats to try and some way, somehow get the people on their side or stop this from happening and say, hey, listen, this ain't right. We shouldn't audit the federal government. We need to let more migrants over here. And we need to make sure that these billionaires and these trillionaires are not the ones that's getting all of the money. I've never seen nothing like it in my entire life. Not one time.
Of immense human trafficking in this country.
Well, we're going to find out. Look, we got a Homeland Security task force here at the White House that I'm involved in, and we're digging down to that. You're going to see a lot of investigations on how all this happened. I think the next place you need to look is the United Nations. How much money did the United Nations, certain offices with the United Nations, how much they spend on this massive illegal immigration crisis we had the last 4 years? There's a lot of places we need to look where that money came from, where that money was spent. So I can guarantee there's going to be a lot of investigations on the funding of the NGOs and all these groups that supported this massive illegal immigration crisis on the border, and how that money was spent with the NGOs, how much that money was given to illegal aliens to help them enter this country, get money given to them south of the border. And
some of y'all in the chat are saying, oh, Jasmine Crockett is worth $9 million. How do y'all know this? How do y'all know this? And listen, nobody loves ragging on these crooked Democrats that continue to push these liberal policies more than me. But I am absolutely positively curious. How do y'all know that Jasmine Crockett in particular is worth $9 million? How do y'all know that? Google? Y'all said Google? What's public? What's public? Oh my God. Somebody cite y'all sources. I need to know this because we got to be careful with some of the stuff that we saying. We genuinely got to be careful. We just can't just say stuff. I know what her salary is. I'm not talking about her salary. I'm saying, how do you know what her net worth is? I don't need to wake up. I'm not asleep. I'm asking a question. Listen, just because you say it don't mean that I'm asleep. I'm asking you what your sources is. Somebody said it's online. Everything is online. A bunch of lies and a bunch of truths is online. What I'm asking you is, what is your, don't say it's public information. What's your source? What's your source? Again, I have no problem whatsoever holding people accountable, but I need to understand, how are y'all getting this information that I don't have? Don't just say Google. Don't just say, just tell me. What's the sources? And don't say crazy stuff like, oh, you just sleep. No, what's your source? I don't like that, because, and let me tell you why that's dangerous for people to do that type of stuff. This is why it's dangerous when people just say stuff, because what it does is, when you don't actually have real proof, when you don't actually just know the truth, when you do start to have a conversation and people start to say stuff, they lose credibility. Now, if I was to say something like, yeah, man, I know for a fact that she's worth $9 million, but it's not true, then it makes me less credible as a person that is giving you information. And so you look less credible when you then say stuff, but you can't substantiate your argument. That is the number one thing that I say on a regular basis. I like to hold people accountable based off of the truth, not based off of what I presume the truth to be. And if I am going to give my opinion, I am going to state, hey, this is my opinion. This is how I got the information, or this is how I surmise that this is what I think is going on. This is how I use my context clues. That's how you separate it. A lot of y'all playing a game of telephone, bro. A lot of y'all is playing the game of telephone. You have to actually go and substantiate your argument. And if it is true, then that's when we can have a conversation, because we can start to figure out exactly how she got there. But you can't just say anything and think that that is what it is just because somebody else told you, or Google said it. I went to Celebrity Net Worth. What? What does that mean? You got to be careful, bro, because you lose credibility when you say stuff, and it actually sets us back, because we just talking about rumors. We not talking about the truth. We're not talking about facts. All right? She said it on the Breakfast Club. Cool. What's the timestamp? Give me the Breakfast Club timestamp where she talked about it, and then we can start having that conversation. And don't waste my time. Please don't waste my time. Actually give me real information that allows for me to come to a conclusion. Then we can start having a conversation. Don't sit there and tell me anything. The Breakfast Club interview just came out an hour ago. I know y'all ain't watched the full interview. Give me the timestamp where she said that her net worth is $9 million on the Breakfast Club, and then we'll go from there. All right? Don't waste my time. What's the timestamp if you watched it? And y'all just be talking. Let me read some of these super chats and then we'll go from there. Anton, you have been a great inspiration, working 2 full-time jobs, reselling clothing, joining the Bag Chasers. 2026, I will have my cargo business. Shout out to James Watts. I appreciate you. LaFleur is 20. Shout out for the 20 ball. I appreciate you. Quinn versus Slimmy ain't got nothing on Molly versus Jazz. They about to break the internet for show. Good morning, AD. What's some good brunch spots in downtown Detroit? I think that the breakfast spots are the best places to eat. I don't think that you need to go to downtown Detroit. The Hudson Cafe is good. I would also consider going to the Pancake House over in Grosse Pointe, or go to the one in Southfield. Dime Store is really good. The Dime Store is really, really good. So there's some dope places right off the top of my head. Those are the three that come to mind as far as if you really, really want some good eats. Mr. La says, what up though, bro? They're using the same source that you're Nigerian and Rita is white. Right, exactly. Wagwan, it's amazing to have a man like you talking that talk while staying dedicated to doing it the right way. I love you and I appreciate you. Shout out to you. And this is me giving you your flowers while you're here. Thank you, my friend. What bothers me is when people say 5K isn't enough. I'll talk about that towards the end of the show. I don't want to get into a whole soliloquy about that. I'll talk about that on the end of the show. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. If somebody can find me the timestamp, Jagged Fork is pretty good, but it's a chain restaurant. If anybody can find me the timestamp or what she said that she was worth $9 million, I would love to see it, and so I can actually go and look at it. I want to know. Y'all let me know what the timestamp is, and then I'll go back and look at it. All right, y'all. Y'all ready to continue on with the show? Because I'm going to get to Jasmine Crockett momentarily. Thank you guys for continuing to support the platform. Thank you for continuing to hold me down. And let's get over to Elon Musk. So Elon Musk actually was on CPAC, and he had some conversations about the level of waste that we see happening with Doge. All right, what Doge is discovering anyways. And I want to share that with you guys. So make sure you hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's get into Elon Musk and what he had to say over at CPAC.
Are you thinking about auditing the Federal Reserve as well, which is obviously
yeah, sure.
Regulates our
Right.
economy? I imagine you think the waste has got to be everywhere.
Yeah, no, waste is pretty much everywhere.
Wait. Y'all said the timestamp is at 8 minutes? All right, let me go and look at it. Give me a second. I'm going to go and pull it up. Jasmine Crockett, The Breakfast Club. Let's see. 2 hours ago, 8 minutes. Switch. All right. I'm going to go ahead and look at it, and I want y'all to y'all tell me. Give me a second. I get there. Said 8 minutes. Go to 7:49.
Or if y'all just think every black girl that comes to Congress brings a husband who has to live off of, that's not what it is. Okay.
Right.
No husband, never been married, never been engaged. All right. That's number one. So then they said, well, she's worth $9 million and she's got all these homes. Let me tell you something. When I first got to Congress, about 2 weeks in, there was a case that I had been working for 7 years. It was a civil rights case, one of my last 2 civil rights cases, and I still got one pending. So just so y'all know, if I got to resign, I'm going to resign. But nevertheless, it goes to trial. I'm unable to participate because I'm not supposed to be, but I'm in this wind down period. It actually hits for about $22 million. All right. So ethics says you can't collect your attorney's fee on that at all. Now, mind you, I worked this case before I ever ran for Congress, right? So like that gives you an idea of how far they go when it comes to the no, but here's the deal. I would have resigned and I will resign. I'm not finna play with my money. Like y'all tripping because I worked on that case for 7 years. It was against a very small city that literally can't pay it. Now, if for some reason they go find the coins, then absolutely I'm resigning, forcing a special election, and I'll win, right? But I do have another one that is pending, and it's pending against the city of Dallas. And the officer in that case actually pled guilty. If the city of Dallas does pay up, you heard it here first. I am resigning, and it will be a 7-figure payday for me because as an attorney, yeah, we do have cases that hit for millions of dollars. It's not really that odd. The thing is that I've always been a bleeding heart liberal. I have. So I was doing more criminal defense than anything. I wasn't really doing a lot of the big $1 million cases unless I was helping out the homies. I've got plenty of cases where I've gone into court, help homies get 7-figure results, but that never was me. I just wanted to be comfortable. And now I got, deal with Congress.
So you said you can resign and then run again, you said?
Yeah. I'm going to collect my check.
Resign, get that money.
Yeah.
Because there's mad billionaires in Congress.
That part. And they only got upset about this lie. I'm like, first of all, why y'all mad? If this was true, why is this a problem? It's a problem just because I'm a black woman for most of them, right? Because they still not mad that Elon.
So where is it that she said that she's worth $9 million? I'm hearing her say that she's not worth $9 million. And if she has the opportunity to be able to get a multi-million-dollar check, that she would actually resign and do it. So what are y'all talking about? So in this conversation, y'all actually came to the conclusion that she said that she was worth $9 million. And again, I just like to get to the facts. I don't care about all of the other stuff and You know what I'm saying? I like to address the issues that I see happening on a regular basis. Where did she say that she was worth $9 million? So y'all sent me this timestamp to substantiate your argument, but it's not actually substantiating the argument. Nice. Thank you for wasting everybody's time. Let's get back to the real show. All right. Elon Musk at CPAC talking about all of the government waste that he found. Let's continue, y'all.
As well, which is obviously
Yeah, sure.
regulates our
Alright.
economy. I imagine you think the waste has got to be everywhere.
Yeah, no, waste is pretty much everywhere. People ask, like, how can you find waste in DC? I'm like, look, it's like being in a room, and there's target. The wall, the roofs, and the floor are all targets. So it's like you're gonna close your eyes and go shoot in any direction. you can't miss, you know. So it's pretty wild. Like you just push on things a little bit, and you save billions of dollars. Like just a little.
Let me read this super chat, or not super chat, but this comment, and we'll go from there. Stan the Manifesto says the fact of the matter, AD, is she is in the loop, and once you enter the space of politics, and you know this, AD, why are you butthurt about if she's worth $9 million? Come on, man. When did I say that I was butthurt? I said I don't like people putting out false information, and I want you to substantiate your argument. So if somebody sit here and say, yeah, man, she's worth $9 million, I'm going to say, okay, well, where did you get that from? And can you cite your sources? Listen, I don't give a flying F whether she's worth $9 million or $9. As long as you get it the right way. See, I'm objective enough to understand that if you get it the right way, then I have no problem with it. I don't care if you're in Congress, and I don't care if you're a regular everyday person. That has nothing to do with whether or not she's legislating or signing off on the purse strings of Congress to do the right thing. I judge Congress, I judge politicians based off of whether or not they are coming forth with the right policies and are advocating for the people in the right way. And if you did it, and if you got your money the right way, then cool. Let's just substantiate whether or not it's actually real or not. But if somebody tells me that somebody did something that they're not supposed to do, and how is she worth $9 million? And I say, okay, well, where did you get that source from? And who told you that they're worth $9 million? And you can't substantiate it, that means that you lose credibility. I can't report on that. I can't have a conversation and say, well, this person isn't credible, or this person is better off, or this person is compromised because they got it the wrong way, if you're lying to me and giving me false information. So it doesn't matter. I'm worth more than $9 million. Why would I care about whether or not? I'm not trying to stop nobody from getting their bags. The point that I'm making is you have to substantiate your argument. You can't just say things. And see, you hurt liberals, you raging liberals. I don't even understand how y'all have conversations with y'all wives and y'all husbands, because it's like y'all don't really get it. And maybe I'm not communicating effectively, or maybe we just not on the same page, and maybe we just don't have no conversations to where we can intersect. But who's hurt about anything? I'm not butthurt about anything except for legislators finessing the money and stealing it from taxpayers and sending it to people and money laundering and running it all up. That's what I'm hurt. I'm hurt at the fact that I have to pay more taxes, and then it goes over into places that I don't know none of. And then people sit there and say that we're supposed to continue to fund USAID, but I pay an egregious amount of taxes every single year. Why would I care about her being in the loop? Has nothing to do with the price of potatoes and the price of tea in China. We have to make sure that the more that we grow, I don't have small platforms. The more that we grow, the more that we have to remain even more credible with the information that we put out there. Because the one thing that I don't like doing is putting out lies because I wouldn't want anybody to put out lies about me. If you're going to hold me accountable, then hold me accountable for the truth. Don't hold me accountable for something that I got to defend myself against. That's not true. Even if you're Democrat, even if you're Republican, the way that you establish credibility is by being a credible person. Show me where you got the information at. Show me where she said it. Then we can evaluate it. But if she didn't substantiate that and she said, listen, I quit right now if you're giving me $9 million, I would too if I was her.
A little bit, you know? It's wild.
It's scary, isn't it? It's
that's why I say it really is underrated. If you add caring and competence, how much things improve.
Yeah.
And you know, and we just find so many totally crazy things, which, you know, we're sharing with the public. We post everything we learn. You know, just you know, so you can see it. You know. What do you? And like, it's like, isn't it like it's totally wild? Like we just did like a check the database on Social Security. Like it says how many alive Americans eligible for Social Security are there? And according to the database, it's over 400 million. And we're like, wait a second.
And how many are getting?
How old are they again?
Yeah.
And then
we don't even have 400 million people inside of the United States of America. By my last check and by my last estimate, we got a little over 350 million people here inside of the United States of America. How do y'all got 400 million people on Social Security? And then they'll sit there and tell us, well, Social Security is going to run out by 2032. Not if we get people off of it that ain't supposed to be on it. Social Security should absolutely be solvent 100%. How do you have 400 million Social Security checks going out and we only got 350 million people inside of the United States of America, the overwhelming majority by which can't even draw Social Security yet? It's so much fraud and waste inside of this place, man.
One person in there is like 360 years old. I'm like, what, they know Ben Franklin or something? I mean, yeah. You know, America didn't exist before at that time. Like, so
yeah, we were colonies.
You know, maybe it's just me, but I think it's a red flag. I don't know.
But are there indications that there were checks going to those people or any of those people?
Well, yeah.
That's, I guess, the question, right? I mean, I get the Social Security Administration is dumb, but are they paying these people? Are they that dumb? I don't know.
A bunch of money is going out from the Social Security Administration, and in fact, from all entitlements programs.
$72 billion in waste in like 7 years. That's $10 billion a year.
Well, I think the
fraudulent payments.
The rough estimate from General Government Accountability Office is over $500 billion of fraud a year. 500 billion.
And how long at a time?
Per year.
Per year on Social Security?
No, on all
on all government.
On all entitlements.
All entitlements.
All entitlements. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? They got to get better hosts because I like the information, but a lot of times the hosts overspeak. I've learned this even in my own interviewing process. I'm very, very mindful of the fact that you're bringing the person there to speak. You're not there to try to correct them or overtalk them or whatever. And I know he's being cordial and he seems like he's a nice guy, but people have to let other people talk long enough to get the information. A lot of times you interrupt them and it messes up the flow of the conversation, but let's continue and see if we can get anything else out of it.
It sort of actually makes sense when you look at the thing from a top level and say like, okay, there's $7 trillion of spending by the government. What percentage do you think is fraudulent? Okay, exactly. Like a conservative estimate of the 7 trillion would be 10%. Conservative.
Probably a little higher than that, yeah.
Exactly.
Feels like a quarter out of every dollar, right?
But if the fraud's only 10% of 7 trillion, you've got $700 billion of fraud.
Yeah.
And by the way, it's like really easy to take advantage of the federal government. It's very easy.
It is.
Look at COVID.
Yes.
Everybody got rich during COVID. I mean, look at all these scammers. I mean, it's unbelievable.
It looks like in terms of the COVID payments, there was something like $200 billion of COVID payment fraud taken by fraudsters out of the country.
Out of the country,
That's insane, bro. That is absolutely, positively insane. $200 billion taken out of the country. Okay, so everybody wasn't hush puppy. Everybody wasn't finessing and doing it the dumb way, like the barber and the local hustlers. That means that some people was like, you know what? I'm gonna get this COVID money. I'm gonna get this PPP money. I'm gonna get this $3 million, $4 million, $5 million, and we gonna wire it out of the country, and then we gonna live our best life. That's insane, bro. That is absolutely insane. And we all should be upset at this because we all get taxes taken out of our paycheck every single pay period. 100%. Do you know what happens when you get a bonus? When it's not tied to equity in the company, so you're not getting stock options, but you just get a bonus check. Because largely when you get into the executive ranks a lot of times, and this is why people that make more money, and I know that it's a lot of people that's a part of the system say the rich need to pay their fair share, or people that make more money, they need to pay even more taxes. Do you know that when you start to get to the space where you can negotiate your salary a lot more, and your salary is based off of equity and bonuses because that's what you work for. Your base salary is just enough to take care of your necessities, but you're really hustling for the bonus and the equity. The equity is what you want because the equity is you can't tax it until you actually draw from it. So it's unrealized gains. It's tied to the performance of the company. So you want whoever it is that's working for the company to do the best job because that's how they get paid. The better the company does, the greater your net worth, and it's unrealized gains. Some executives even borrow against it and don't ever take it out because they don't want to have to pay the taxes for it. And that's how Elon Musk wound up having to pay $11 billion in taxes in 2021, which a lot of it he spent on buying Twitter, right? When you get a bonus, anybody that's got a performance bonus, they take the maximum amount. They don't take it based off of how you've designated what you want your dependents to be. They don't do that. If you work for a union, if you work for an automaker, if you work for a plan, if you work for anybody, you get the maximum amount. Some people almost get half taken out. Some people also got to pay child support out of that. Some people still got to pay union dues out of that. And when you get that taxable amount, right, you got to pay Social Security, FICA, federal government, state, depending on what state that you live in. And you grind all year in order to get that check so that you can get the siding or the roof done on your crib, or, you know, you want to make sure that you can pay your daughter's tuition or something like that. You know, to see, let's say you get a $20,000 bonus, right? I have seen paychecks after everything was taken out and everything owed and all of that. I have seen people get a $20,000 bonus and come home with $8,000. It's not unheard of. It is not unheard of to have to give up $12K of a $20K bonus and you got $8,000. Because, you know, when you get your bonuses, you done already spent the money in your mind. In your mind, you already done talked about, you done had a conversation with your girl, what y'all gonna do? I'm gonna have like $1,500 left over after we take care of our responsibilities, and we gonna go, we gonna have some good times. We gonna eat, we gonna have a vacation. You know what I'm saying? We gonna go and party a little bit. You get that little 8K? Like, damn. And guess where it's going? Politicians' pockets, this foreign country where they got to put on Sesame Street, somebody's stealing Social Security, and we pay all of these. Think about it. Every working adult pays taxes. Every working adult pays taxes. Every working adult pays taxes. You're telling me, because see, even with, it's not just the money that come out of your regular check, it's also property taxes and sales taxes and gas tax. When you go and you go buy another car, you got to pay 6% on that. And you pay this. If you buy a luxury item, you got to pay 6 to 8% on that. You got to pay all of these taxes, right? We put in way more than we draw out individually. You will be paying property taxes for the schools in your area way past the time that your kids is ever in grade school. Even if you send your kids to private school, you still got to pay the property taxes. You got to pay the millages. You got to pay all of that. For the amount of resources that you use, and think about people that have resources, like a lot of resources, they pay the majority of the taxes and they don't even tap into it. They're paying it for everybody else to take advantage of it. And the more money you have, the bigger house you build, the more you pay in property taxes. Why wouldn't the American people be upset? When you get your check at the end of the week and you don't have enough to do the things that you know that you should be able to do with the amount of money that you make because they took their half as tribute, why wouldn't I want to know where my money is going? Why wouldn't I want to know where my money is going? At the very least, an audit is just a reasonable expectation. They're going to audit you if they think that you did not pay your fair share. If you got a business and you reported everything right, they going to come in and with a fine-tooth comb, with a magnifying glass. Don't miss nothing. So we shouldn't be able to audit the federal government? Is that what you're telling me? Why? Because you liberal or you Republican? This shouldn't even be an issue that we discussing individually. This should be something that we all should be in agreement of. If you in this country and you pay taxes, you should want to know where your money is going and who's spending it and why they getting paid to distribute your money to other countries. That's reasonable. That is a reasonable expectation. Jagged Fork is exceptional. Shout out to AR Smitty. Abe the Hunter says, you're right, AD. Have not been in office in a minute. Walked in the door. My heart skipped a beat after seeing my future wife. So Anton, right. She doesn't have a net worth of $9 million. At least we can't substantiate it because we don't have no real sources. Bro, what is a mouse wiggler? I've never heard of that, bro. What is a mouse wiggler? I've never. Okay, so a mouse wiggler is people that work from home, but maybe they away from their desk. Maybe they out in the streets. Maybe they go to the mall. Maybe they getting their nails done. Maybe they at the barbershop, whatever. But the mouse, when you work from home, make sure that your status is still active. So if you have Microsoft Teams or you have Jabber or something like that, if you work in a corporate environment, one of the ways that they know that you're active, right, because your status can go yellow or it could be green or it could be red, or it'll be inactive for a large period of time. So you want them to think that you're still working at your computer. So what people did was they went out and bought mouse wigglers. So it's another name for it, but basically it moves the mouse every so often. So it makes sure that it makes it seem like you're still active, and it makes it seem that people is really still doing work and they're productive. That's what a mouse wiggler is. What is a mouse? Oh, there you go. I just told you. Justin Lawrence says, just flipping a coin. Is Trump the emperor with no clothes? I don't really know what that means. Just saw the taxes taken out of my bonus. It felt like Felice Johnson just left took advantage of you. You feel broken doing my taxes. Remember that in NVIDIA profits, I was sick. Yep, you got to pay a percentage of that. Percentage of what you actually profited. More mad at Elon than people stealing is wild. And that's what we living in. We living in a raggedy time where people are more mad at Elon than the people that stealing. J. Cole talked about this in the song Brackets. Facts. They literally tax you for being smart with your money. It's crazy. And we got to pay our fair share to make sure everybody else is taken care of. Anyways, make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. If you have not already, tap into the Patreon. I just dropped the video yesterday. And also we got Block Club coming up. All right. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Let's get over into this next portion of the show. I want to talk about JD Vance. JD Vance trolled CNN. And I like the fact that JD Vance and Trump is willing to troll CNN. He talked about a lot of things, including masculinity, which we're going to get to on the tail end of this live stream. And he also talked about, and he gave a warning to European leaders. JD Vance was at CPAC, just like Elon Musk was at CPAC. And he had a lot to say, and I thought that it was pretty interesting. And so let's evaluate a little bit of that. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's rock.
Today. You know what today is, guys? It's February 20th. That means our first 30 days, the happy one-month anniversary of the Trump-Vance administration. I mean, how exciting is that?
It's very exciting. It's hard to believe we've only been in office for a month, because I think we've done more in a month than Biden did in about 4 years. Yeah. And thank God for that. But, you know, the president keeps us on a pretty breakneck pace.
Do not buy new windows if you live in Michigan.
What is that?
Americans living in...
Do we need to change the account? Okay, hold on. Got to switch that. Got to go to YouTube Premium. Didn't know we wasn't on Premium.
Thank you.
USA!
I got some sleep last night.
Okay, good. Then we're ready. We're ready. But it's a real special day today. You know what today is, guys?
And thank God for that. But, you know, the president keeps us on a pretty breakneck
Wrong account. Got to make sure we on YouTube. No advertisements while we streaming, all right?
pace. He always asks, what have we done today? What are we going to do tomorrow? What are we going to do next week? Because I think he realizes this is a special moment in time. And by the way, thank you. Thanks to all of you for making it possible for us to do all the great work we've been doing in the administration. I know we wouldn't have been here without you, but I think the president is acutely aware that the American people gave us a window to save the country, and that's exactly what we're going to do. And thank God for that, because it's been a hell of a lot of fun the past month.
Okay, so I don't even think we can keep track.
Ads are not the devil, y'all. Ads are how we get paid over here on this platform, all right? So we're not against ads. We're not doing ad blockers. We just purchase YouTube Premium, all right?
Of all the things you all are doing. In fact, I don't even think the press can keep track of all they're doing. I mean, they talk about the shock and awe strategy. Seriously. So when you're looking at this list after list after list, what stands out to you?
Well, speaking of the press, I do think that we've had maybe more executive orders than CNN has viewers each night. So hello to our friends at CNN. I actually think that their plan was they were going to go all in on anti-Trump and hope that he could save CNN in the same way that he did, frankly, in 2017, because nobody really watched the network until he became president in 2017. But that's maybe the one thing I think the president has been unable to save the CNN's ratings over the last few months. But look, I think that what the president has tried to do is recognize that we have a historical mandate on a few issues. We have to secure the southern border, and thanks to his actions, border crossings are down well over 90%, and we're just getting started. He recognizes that we have to really unlock the engine of American growth. We've got to get back to having a growing economy that creates good jobs and high wages for the American people. And a lot of that goes back to drill, baby, drill. We've done more on energy under President Trump's leadership than I think any administration in history. And that's not an exaggeration. And of course, we're going to do more. And then I think the third thing that he's tried to do, of course, with the help of Elon and all the great folks at Doge, is ask, what are we doing with all of the American taxpayers' money, and why are we wasting so much of it on garbage that the American people either aren't aware that we're spending it on or don't want to be spending it on in the first place? Right. Like, for example, the stuff that we've figured out, Mercedes, is unbelievable. Why are we spending money on progressive modern art projects centered around toilets in Afghanistan? That's actually something that your tax dollars were funding until very recently. And I think all of us are sitting around and asking, what the hell have we been doing with the American people's money for the last 4 years? Let's turn off the spigot and spend the American people's tax money on the American people's priority. And that's, of course, been a big focus of the administration, too.
So there's a bi-level approach, right? And that you have to do two things in order to solve for the economy. And in the process, there's going to be some storming and there's going to be some people that have to make some adjustments, right? The first thing that you have to do is you got to find out where all of the tax money is going. A part of that plan is also auditing the federal government. But when you audit the federal government, what you also find is that there's a lot of departments that's really diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I'm not saying that literally, but what I am saying is diversity, equity, and inclusion, meaning that they're keeping this department open just because it's been there for a long time. It doesn't necessarily mean that it brings value to the American people. So what Doge is doing is they're doing two things. They're going to find out exactly where the money is going and where the fraud is so that they can claw that money back. And the second thing that they're doing is they're going back and figuring out which departments actually are operating based off of a need from the American people versus just having a bloated government that's acting like we're creating jobs in the economy, but we really not, and we just running the United States of America in a higher debt. The second part of that plan is you then have to take these companies that initially was only doing business overseas, right? They were incentivized to take jobs elsewhere instead of investing inside of the United States of America. And so while you're driving out the government waste, which includes getting rid of people in departments that run these departments and getting rid of them and getting them out into the workforce, now they have to compete. So what you'll see happen in our economy is two different things, right? Number one, the government is going to do its job and continue to incentivize people to bring jobs here. Now, what that also may mean is that some of the jobs that you want is not the jobs that you're prepared for. So when you went and got this African American studies degree, or you went and go into some weird thing in college, a lot of people always say, I got a degree and I got a bachelor's degree and I may have a master's degree. In what? In what? The jobs that we need people here for, which also is going to include manufacturing, is A, not the jobs that people feel like they want to do, and B, not the jobs that people qualify for. Because if you're going to have a higher level job, a corporate position or a developer position or an AI machine learning position or a cloud infrastructure, we are not prepared, and we have not been preparing people because we've been spending so much of our university dollars on diversity, equity, and inclusion and bringing people in instead of training them on the things that we need them to do in the future. So we have a lack in our education system, which then bleeds over into the Department of Education and also where we're allocating monies that we send into these universities. Right? So we need private dollars. And then the third, the bonus part of that is some of you guys that can't compete and you thought that jobs were a preference and not something that is a luxury, meaning that nobody has to create a job for you. Some of you guys are going to have to be innovative and create a job for yourself. Remember how I've been describing to y'all the Chinese food restaurant where people come over here and because they don't really have any skill set or they don't speak the language as much, they know enough about being able to create food. And so what they did was they go in, they rent out a spot, they bring some equipment in, they all pull their money together, and then they create a restaurant, which they're not trying to get rich off of it. They don't get rich off of it, but they generate enough revenue where they can pay themselves. They don't get PTO, they don't get time off, they don't get any of that stuff, but they are creating a job for yourself. 99% of businesses are not passive. They are not, you just set it and forget it. It's not financing. It's not, you just put your money into it and you get a return and none of that. 98 to 99% of small businesses creating a business, and y'all going to find out soon enough, is creating a job for yourself. You are, instead of having to depend on the federal government or some private interest or going to school, you don't want to do that. Well, that means that you got to go and pick up garbage. That means that you got to create a dumpster business. That means that you got to create the restaurant that is highly competitive because it's a whole lot of people that's creating restaurants, right? That means that you got to go and create a street sweeping cleaning business. You got to go and do this. You got to do it. And you're going to have to work that thing because it ain't even no people that want to do those jobs. You're going to have to work it. You're creating a job for yourself. And guess what? Ain't no PTO, ain't no retirement, ain't none of that. You're all responsible for it. Let's continue.
Let's dig deeper into the immigration issue.
Sure.
We've seen, and you've met many of the victims, people who have family members who have died,
yes,
been tragically murdered. Those angel families in the hands of these criminal illegal aliens.
Sure.
What's your message to these families? What is your message to these horrific drug cartels and human traffickers who have preyed on the most vulnerable in the world?
Well, our message to the drug traffickers is get the hell out of our country. Your free ride is over because President Trump is back in the Oval Office. That is, you're not welcome. You were never welcome, according to the American people. But unfortunately, you had President Joe Biden who allowed you to run free over the United States of America. And Donald Trump has said, you're terrorist organizations. We're going to go after you. We're going to wage war on you. And certainly we want you out of the United States of America. And that's an important message, of course. But our message, and you know this, Mercedes, our message to the families is President Trump cares about you. He thinks that it's disgraceful what your own government let happen to your children, to your grandchildren, and it's got to stop. And of course, we mourn with people, we pray for people, but we're also asking, as their government, why did this happen to your child in the first place? And the answer is that under Joe Biden, your government didn't do its job. Under Donald Trump, it is. Thank God for that.
On the economy, and I'm getting this question all the time, it's this question of affordability, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of stress on our families, something that I think Joe Biden could not manage in terms of really helping lower that cost of living and making things just simply more affordable.
Sure.
We talked about energy independence being a critical component of this, of ensuring that we unleash this economic prosperity.
He's a better interviewer than the last guy.
Yeah, so one of the first interviews I did, it was, I think 6 or 7 days after the inauguration. And somebody asked me, well, it's been 6 days. What have you guys done to fix the inflation crisis created by Joe Biden? I'm like, well, first of all, it's been 6 days. We've done a lot in 6 days, but it's going to take some time to fix what Joe Biden broke over 4 years. And we know it is easy, unfortunately, to burn the house down. It takes a little bit of time to build it back up. And here's what we have to do. Because look, the fundamental goal of our immigration policy, of our border policy, of DOGE saving taxpayer money, the fundamental goal is we want your children and grandchildren to be able to raise a family in security and comfort in the country that we all love. That is the whole goal of President Trump's agenda. Like safety and prosperity, right? Yeah. It's pretty common sense stuff. And we know that to do that, we have to, first of all, unleash American energy. Now, why is that so important? Because look, if, we all know grocery prices got too high under Joe Biden's leadership. Well, one of the main drivers of groceries is energy. Because the farmers are paying more for energy, then we're all paying more for what the farmers grow. And if the truck drivers who are delivering the groceries are paying more for fuel, then we're all paying more for what the truck drivers are delivering to the grocery store. If we unleash American energy, that will do more than anything to drive down the cost for the American people. The second thing, Mercedes, is we have got to stop spending the American people's money on garbage. Every dollar that we take in and spend, you have to pay for, either through taxes or through inflation. Yep. And if we spend the American people's money more wisely, if we stop taxing and spending the American people to death, that's also going to bring relief to all of the pricing pressures that are out there. We're going to make it affordable to live in this country again. That's our mandate. That's our goal. And you're right. There's a lot more that we can do, but I think we've got a pretty good start after 30 days.
Yeah, he's right. But also it is going to take some time. You can't expect somebody to fix something in 1 month. That was done over a period of 4 years. And I think that the affordability crisis, you've seen it in everything from when you go to the grocery store to when you rent out a house, to when you take somebody on a date or you decide to vacation. So shout out to JD Vance. I thought that was I'm not going to play the whole thing, obviously, but I thought that it was a phenomenal interview. I did check it out this morning when I was riding in the car and going to check out different sites. You guys are more than welcome to do so. Let me read some of these super chats and cash apps, and then we'll move over into the show. Thanks for trying to wake people up. I'm trying. I'm trying with everything within me, big dog. Honest to goodness. I am genuinely trying to help people to understand and see something that's going to be best for them. But sometimes it just seems like people are hell-bent and dead set on being dusty, and I just don't understand it. Keith Murphy, the unbeaten, says, if you want a good laugh, Google Republican town hall meetings, folks 8 not happy, and it's, what do you mean 8? Not happy, and it's only been a month here in Roswell, GA. It got hostile. But you said folks 8. You mean like, hold on, Keith Murphy, respectfully, I got love for you, big dog. You mean like how women say, oh, she 8. Come on, big dog. Tell me you're not talking like the females. Folks 8. So when you having a conversation and you at brunch with your homegirl and you say, oh, I look at her dancing. She 8. Come on, big dog. You a grown man. Is no reason why you should be saying folks 8. All right. I don't want to see that. We got to get some testosterone, some masculinity. We got to get some backbone in that. All right. I think I can understand exactly what you're trying to say. But we gotta be a little bit different when we talking. We don't want to talk like females. All right. Are you saying folks are not happy? Okay, so folks are not happy. Okay, well then that means that we got to be better with spell checking before we send in our super chats. Nah, you cool. I'm rocking with you, big dog. Shout out to you, man. I appreciate you. Tony Nichols says Musk on USAID waste $55 million to Libya to bolster their financial system, $22 million for increased tourism in Egypt, both initiated by Trump. He left that detail out. Anton is right. We better check. How did Trump? Okay. Anton is right. We better check all the money in and who spent it. Keyshawn White says with $36 trillion in debt, my grandpa told me before he died in the 50s, black people were more independent until that blue card came. That's true too. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Ash says, salute to all of the truck driver. Nothing moves in this country without your professionalism and dedication. Daily service. I agree. Shout out to Ash. I appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's talk about Jasmine Crockett. All right. Apparently, Jasmine Crockett appeared on The View. Let me make sure I get this right. Apparently, Jasmine Crockett appeared on The View, and she has some choice words for Elon Musk and Trump. And I did tell you guys that she is basically taking a tour. She is on tour everywhere, and she is trying to help people to understand that you need to see it from a liberal perspective instead of seeing it from a conservative perspective. So this is her on The View apparently yesterday.
They're giving me hell, honey.
Yeah, but you give it right back to them. A lot of them don't do that.
Absolutely. It's a must in this environment,
That's
though,
right.
Because they will steamroll right over you. And unfortunately, we see that ever since day one, baby, that pen been going and it ain't stopped. And it's steamrolling over all of our rights and our liberties and our freedoms and everything that we thought was the foundation of this country, our Constitution.
Yes.
Seems like we're saying, well, nope, with a pen, get rid of the Constitution. With a pen, get rid of impoundment and other laws that exist.
Do you think
What respectfully, what right have we lost as Americans? Because listen, let me tell you the one thing that Democrats will do. And Jasmine Crockett, she's an expert at this. She is absolutely surgical when it comes to conflating and acting like you lost something. The only thing that I've heard that people complain about is birthright citizenship, which birthright citizenship, and this is the part that they won't tell you, was not meant for illegal migrants into this country. It was capitalized off of. It was a loophole that they used, but birthright citizenship was not supposed to be a right that was afforded to illegal migrants that come over into this country and have children out of wedlock. As a matter of fact, I'm willing to say that we need to completely end birthright citizenship because we don't have slavery anymore. And if everybody at that time who had children inside of the United States of America whose parents were descendants of slaves is all completed, then I think that we should completely kill birthright citizenship. It's not needed because the thing that it was created for has already been completed. So the people that were supposed to get citizenship inside of the United States of America has it. We don't even need, personally, and this is my own personal opinion, we don't need birthright citizenship inside of the United States of America anymore. Tell me, Pavia, why we need birthright citizenship still inside of the United States of America. Because the only reason that people have it is so that illegal migrants come over here. Because if you come over here legally, right, and you have a child, then they are already an American citizen, right? The only reason that they use birthright citizenship here now is for people. There are Chinese that come over here pregnant, hide their pregnancy, have a child inside of the United States of America, and then their child then has dual citizenship. Explain it to me. If you got a better solution, if you can explain it to me why we still need birthright citizenship inside of the United States of America when there's nobody that's a part of the transatlantic slave trade that then had children and was born over in the United States of America because it was created for Black people that ultimately got sold into slavery here in the United States of America so that their children and the people that were here ultimately can become American citizens and benefit off the fact that their ancestors actually built this country and gave it its economic engine to drive development inside of all of the United States of America, including the South. So if it was used at that time to do so, Why do we still need birthright citizenship for people to take advantage of a program to have children illegally inside of the United States of America so that their children can then benefit off of what's going on here? You basically incentivize criminal activity. I'm asking if somebody has a reason why we still need birthright citizenship, because she's saying that they're taking away the rights. And I'm trying to understand what rights are being removed. Let's continue.
I think that Americans just didn't believe that
And
he
let's be
would go with
clear.
that.
Listen. I'm not going to censor you. The only rule that we have here, because we like differences of opinions and I don't want to operate in an echo chamber, I'm not going to censor you. So just because you got a different opinion than me, that's cool. But just because you mad, that don't mean that I care. Listen, I don't care how mad you get. I don't care how bothered you are. I don't care if Maria, I don't care if Maria is mad at me. I'm telling you the truth. The truth don't care about your feelings. It's not my truth. It's not your truth. You can be upset about it. You can sit there and go back and forth about it. You can complain. You can say, oh my God, you don't know what you can feel however you want to feel. You still here illegally. And if I find you in a place that you're not supposed to be in, I'm going to call Tom Homan. And he coming to get your black behind. And yes, black people or people that identify as black over here in the United States of America, they not all citizens of the United States of America. Some of y'all is Haitian. Some of y'all is Jamaican. Some of y'all is Jamaica me crazy. Some of y'all is Nigerian. And I get it. You like to pay taxes. You work very hard. You don't necessarily commit any crimes. But my question then becomes, did you come over here the right way? Because everything has to be done in order in the right way. And just because you had children here does not mean that you did not come over here illegally. And so we're using loopholes inside of our Constitution to try to justify the fact that you did something that you wasn't supposed to do, and it was meant for something that is not what it's being used for today. So you can feel bad about it. You can go back and forth with me about it, but it don't make you right. Be upset. Just keep on typing, though. It's the truth. It's just the facts. And it ain't my truth. It's just the truth.
That Project 2025. Oh, what? What was that? I mean, he said, I don't even know what it is. Remember?
Oh, I remember, honey.
Yeah.
I remember there was actually a hearing that we had in oversight, and it was right after he said, oh, I know nothing about that Project 2025. Oh, yeah. And we had a witness, and I mentioned that his name was mentioned 312
We're going to
times.
talk about UPS privatization.
In Project 2025.
Yeah.
So
we're going to talk about the USPS privatization along with IRS layoffs in a minute. We're going to get to that shortly.
Hey, this is interesting. He don't know nothing about it, but he's all through it.
And if it's his name, he's riveted to it.
No. And he's relying on the people that absolutely pulled it together.
Like Vance.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So here's the deal. I mean, I think that there are those that just said, I want to do something different. And so we know that typically when people are feeling
those of y'all that came over here legally, but you are from a different culture, welcome. I love migrants. I love people from other cultures. They teach me things or whatever. But it also shows that you did it the right way. If you came over here legally and you were vetted and you didn't have any crooked stuff in your background, welcome. I love people that come over here legally, but don't think that you just deserve to be able to take advantage of the American culture and taxpayer culture just because you're here now. That ain't how life works. You got to do it the right way.
Especially in the economy, they tend to just go the other way. The problem is that this wasn't the guy to fix anything. This is the guy that is the king of breaking things, as we can see.
Yeah. Well, Congresswoman, Elon Musk and Doge, the team, have been infiltrating and dismantling federal agencies. He says he's rooting out waste, fraud, and abuse, all while gaining access to some of our most sensitive data. So you sit on the Doge subcommittee run by Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene. Are you getting any more clarity on what exactly Elon and Doge are doing
She can't even get the question out. Listen, interestingly enough, you know, there was a court filing that came out, or there was the order that came out from Judge Chuckin yesterday, right? And one of the things that the White House and the DOJ is currently saying is that, oh, Elon has no power.
Yeah.
Elon isn't doing that.
He's not an employee, and
So-
he doesn't head the agency. They
Right,
say
He's
now.
tech support, I think is what they say.
So who's lying is my question, but somebody lying, right? Because they've been like, oh, Elon is cleaning it up, right? So someone's not telling the truth. And I hope that
I'm sorry, I was muted. Do y'all understand? Sorry about that. Do y'all understand? Have y'all ever been a part of an organization where they had to bring in outside consultants, and those outside consultants' jobs, their only job was to find out exactly what everybody is doing, where the savings are supposed to come from, and to execute on the vision of the shareholders, to bring profits back to the company and to execute on the vision of the shareholders? There were always consultants. They were not the people that was running the company. They were the people that were being brought in to execute and find out where the savings are. And those consultants' jobs, and they usually work for some of these bigger companies, those consultants' jobs, they come in and they evaluate what every single person is doing, how productive they are, and whether or not they're actually adding value over to the company or it's costing the company money. They're not the CEO. They're not a part of the board. Their job is to come in and find out what is coming in. Deloitte is one of them. Absolutely. They're not running the company, but they're absolutely finding a ways, and they're objective about it because they're being paid a consultant's fee to go in and figure out what the heck is going on. They don't care about whether you stay or whether you don't stay. They don't care if you're black or white. They don't care if you're Indian, Asian. They don't care if you're male or female. They're looking at the position. They're looking at the productivity. They're looking at the department. They're looking at the bottom line of the company, and they're making a decision based off of numbers. Has nothing to do with how they feel about you in particular. They don't care about your tears. They don't care about your TikTok. They don't care about any of this type of stuff. So what she's basically explaining is something that she's never been a part of, because I understand that she ran her own private law firm prior to becoming a Congress member and so on and so forth. But if you've never understood how corporate America works or how private sector works, then you wouldn't be able to understand why Elon Musk is coming in and saving taxpayers' money. He's not running the federal government. He's running the waste out of it, and he's discovering where we're leaking money and leaking information and ultimately making other people rich that's not supposed to be a part of it. And so they can feel how they want to feel about it. But the reality is that this has been needed for a long time, probably since the Clinton administration fired up to 400,000 people.
that the lawyers are the ones that are telling the truth, because there is a higher standard when it comes to practicing law. This is why Donald Trump's lawyers tend to lose their law licenses.
Yeah.
But, I don't really know what's going on. And that is why the attorney generals really had a hard time meeting that burden for TRO, is because we can't say exactly what he's doing. But the problem is we've never in this country, at least in my lifetime and in most other people's lifetimes, experienced someone who is so ingrained. And so we're going to have to...
I don't think that Jasmine Crockett has ever sat in front of somebody that can actually take her to task and help her to understand it from a different perspective. I don't know who she's talking to. I don't know who she's in a relationship with. But I don't think that she's ever been under a real man to help her to understand exactly how these things go. That's usually the sentiment from a lot of women. I think that a lot of women are so used to doing it on their own, and they so used to being affirmed, and they've had some achievement. They got their degree. They started their business. They moved into Congress. They've done well for themselves, but they don't know what a real man can tell them. See, let me be quiet. Let's continue on with the show. Because women are different when they get under all of this that she got going on right now. This wouldn't be happening if she was around me. She sit down with me for 1 second, we're going to change all of that. She going to change her tune. She going to understand things. She might even become Republican. She might even become conservative. All of this, The View and MSNBC and CNN and all of that other nonsense, need to get up under a C student. Need to get up under a C student so we can teach you some things. Real talk. Get all of that masculinity, all of that tough talk, and all of that. I don't like this. And I
start talking to some of these people that are getting fired. Yeah. And we're going to have to find out from them, who is it that told you that you were experiencing your last day at work? Yeah. Talk to us about these little teenagers running around. Was it one of them?
Well, they're doing it through OPM. Yeah. Because I have friends that work there and they got the notice, and they got it from the Office of Personnel Management. Yeah. And so the Doge told OPM to do it.
And that's what we've got to get to the heart of.
Testify to that. I know all about that. But let me ask you this, Congresswoman. We're also seeing mass firings of federal workers across agencies like the Department of Education, the VA, the CDC, the FAA, even the USDA. In some cases, they've had to unfire critical employees, like our nuclear safety specialists, but they didn't have their government email addresses active anymore, so they can't find them. So now, on what grounds are, I know you can't make it up, it's like I'm writing a movie. On what grounds are they laying, a very bad movie, on what grounds are they laying off these workers, and how will the scale of this impact everyday workers who are concerned about the price of their eggs
and nuclear arsenals?
Yeah. So here's the deal. I don't really know what authority they have to do anything.
Yes.
I walked in and I didn't get to read the entire article, but earlier today, it seems like there is someone who was fired that was the head of an agency, and a judge ruled.
They getting the same information as we is. She talking about she read an article. They making their assessment the same way that we making our assessment. They're Congress members. They're people that sit there and control the purse strings. She's on a Doge subcommittee, and she getting notifications on her iPhone just like all of the rest of us, bro. Real talk. She got an opinion. She ain't nothing but a content creator. She going from interview to interview, continuing to boost up her ratings. She a Congress member, family. She getting the same information that we getting. She doing review videos and reading articles and assessing things. And she on the subcommittee just like us, bro.
That firing was illegal. People seem to be surprised that the first felon that we ever elected to the White House commits crimes, but or breaks the law. Breaks the law. But
not even talking about nothing, bro.
He has no respect for the law whatsoever. And so
she sounds smart to people that don't know any better. They sound smart to people that don't know any better. It's easy to sound smart when you're not being held accountable, or when you can't stand in front of people that actually know what they're talking about. Real talk.
Well, for the most part, it seems like they've been going after probationary people,
right?
Because probationary employees do not enjoy the same protections.
They lack some protections.
Exactly. And so, it'll be interesting to see where the unions go with some of these lawsuits and how successful they are. But again, ultimately, I think that he's trying to get to his favorite court, the court that we know we all love to hate.
Yeah.
The highest court. I think he's trying to get there and hoping to get some cover for all the nonsense. After all, this is the same court that gave him immunity.
That is
so
true.
that he could go out and do some of the illegal things that he's doing.
Do you think they have a limit, though, the court?
You know what? I keep trying to.
That's not how immunity works, but okay, we'll get there.
Point people to the TikTok decision. Not necessarily because of the subject matter, but more so because basically they said, no, this was signed into law. And in a 9-0 decision, they would not allow him to unilaterally overturn it. So we will see how well they hold up. But we know that this administration keeps threatening judges. If a judge hands down a decision that they don't like, they talk about impeaching that judge and getting rid of that judge. And they won't be able to get rid of these judges because the standard is too high. But he may end up telling some of those Supreme Court justices that are his, it's time for you to go. And they potentially will leave because he did that last time.
Yeah, man. We gonna get one more question from the lunch ladies.
Ask you about Democrats. You're obviously leading next generation voice in the Democratic Party, and Trump is moving at this breakneck pace. It feels like signing all these EOs, doing these long-ranging press conferences in the Oval Office. Democrats seem to not be getting their footing on what the message and strategy is to push back. We think of the leaders chanting, "We will win" outside of Treasury, which was widely panned. You've talked about Democrats needing a branding overhaul. Are you satisfied with the approach so far, and what do they need to do?
Jasmine Crockett was out there with him. She was out there too with that thumb. With the thumb. That wrinkled thumb.
Do to kind of get their mojo back?
You know what? I think that just like the rest of the world, we've got a bit of whiplash because for some people, even those that voted for him, they said, well, we've been here before. And we didn't fall apart the last time he was here, so we won't fall apart this time. And so I think that while we had the playbook right there for us, Project 2025, I still think that even some Democrats were like, oh, well, he's just going to do what he did last time. And he's not. World leaders are recognizing that he's not the same. I mean, he's 10 times worse. And imagine that. This is the guy that oversaw how many deaths during COVID, right?
You mean the guy that actually stopped wars? Meanwhile, we got millions of people that was dying between Russia and Ukraine. You mean the person that actually negotiated the ceasefire between Israel and Hamas? That guy, the guy that was bringing all of our troops home? This woman would have more credibility if she actually acknowledged some of the stuff that he did. That was great. The stuff that she agreed with that she refused to address.
And now we had Ebola breakout. Now we've got measles breakout. Like this is bird flu because they were some of the other people that got fired.
The USDA firings.
Yeah, no. And he's like, oh, well, wait a minute. Like this is just literally not even partisanship, in my opinion, at this point. This is incompetence. And I think that
she's not answering the question. The thing that she was asked, and she does a masterful job, much more masterful than Kamala Harris did. The thing that she was asked was this new age of Democrats. What do you think is working, basically, right? Let me summarize it. What do you think is going to work versus being outside protesting? We will win with the thumb. Maxine Waters.
No, seriously, it's incompetence. And I know earlier y'all were talking about bring back the bushes. I'm with you, honey. Like, listen, I mean, you know, it
was some sense of normalcy, democratic norms.
Did she just say bring back the bushes? All right, I'm done with this one. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let me read some of these super chats, and then we're going to go from there. She said, bring back the bushes. Bush 2. Americans, shout out to Night J. Night J says, Americans have become too comfortable. Hard times create a strong society. A strong society creates good times. Good times create weak society, and weak society create hard times. Shout out to my girl, Night J. I appreciate you. Ain't. Okay, I got you, Keith. Thank you, my friend. Anton Jackhammer says, Anton, have you heard of Teach Him Chuck? He's on YouTube and in the Detroit area. It might be an opportunity to collaborate. I'm not sure who that is. I'm sorry. It might not have hit my desk. You know what I'm saying? No Excuse Lifestyle Rocky K says, what up, AD? It's funny how people say 5K, but not saying the same thing about the stimmy check a few years ago. The View should be thanking Trump because without bashing Trump, their ratings will go down. Salute, brother. I agree. Ted Marley says your take on USPS privatization and how to adjust. I'm about to get there in a second. You should have no rights. If you did anything illegal for your information, I'm telling. That's a fact. Shout out to Ash says, not sure what is going on in Dallas, but Dallas is a very liberal city. Very liberal. Very, very liberal. But Jasmine Crockett, South Dallas metro areas, U.S. House Rep, and now the acting Dallas police chief are actively working against Trump administration. Thank God for Fort Worth bringing balance to the DFW community. Dallas is a very liberal city. Dallas and Houston, very, very liberal. Hi, AD. She could never sit next to Ken. Oh, she know better than that. She know better than that. Now, that's the real jazz stopper right there. It's only a matter of time before Jasmine Crockett dirty laundry to be revealed. Women in Dallas sound much smarter than they are. You notice none of the mainstream shows or are talking about the live view of Trump supporting Black History Month yesterday. Yeah, I was supposed to be there. My daughter's birthday was yesterday, though, so I decided to stay home. Now we need to bring back old Democrats. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and thank you to everybody that continue to support the platform. Let's talk about the firings. Let's talk about layoffs, and let's talk about USPS, okay? Because I'm hearing that Trump is trying to reorganize and see what's going on with USPS. And first, we want to start with, let me do this again. First, we want to start with IRS laying off over 6,700 as Doge is thinking about more cuts. Make sure you hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's rock.
More job cuts across the federal government this morning as the IRS lets go of nearly 7,000 workers during tax season, and the TSA lays off hundreds. News Nation's Tom Dempsey is in Washington with the latest this morning. Tom, what departments are next on the Doge chopping block?
Hey, good morning from Washington, D.C., Marky. Look, this week, the Department of Government Efficiency really putting the IRS and the Department of Defense in its targets. Just this week, actually, just yesterday alone, a source telling News Nation that 6,700 layoffs were announced within the IRS. Now, these layoffs impacted probationary workers on the job for a year or less, with some of them in the compliance department, which involves making sure taxpayers follow code, file their returns, and pay their taxes. But of course, consider the timing of all this. This all comes with the tax season heating up, and a News Nation affiliate spoke to an employee who works in collections who asked to remain anonymous due to the sensitive timing. She said she worried all week about being fired while describing the stress and uncertainty right now.
The majority of us are very sad with what's going on. Most of us don't even know how we're going to make our mortgage payment or rent payments, how we're even going to put food on the table.
We also know a team from Doge visited the Pentagon earlier this week and got lists of probationary workers.
I was muted again. I'm sorry. I don't know why I keep being muted. It's probably it's probably a good thing that I got muted. Probably a good thing that I got muted because I wasn't saying nothing good. Right after that lady said that, I said that, you know what the Great Reset is? I'm going to modify my words a little bit. You know what the Great Reset is? The Great Reset is also, because a lady was saying, oh my God, I don't know how we're going to pay our mortgages. I don't know how we're going to do things. You know what we're going to do? Masculinity is back, baby. Yes, it is. Masculinity is back. That means that we're going to have y'all reset yourselves back into being wives. You're going to have to go back into the household. We teaching home ec now. Home ec. Yeah, I need y'all to learn how to make a strawberry pie, peach cobbler, and macaroni and cheese and greens from scratch, baby. Y'all got to depend on your husbands. You got to depend on your husbands this time, baby. And it's also going to start to make sure that everything goes back in prices. Part of getting prices back in order is to get everybody back in line in their rightful roles. It's to get everybody, you know what? I'll give you an example. So, for example, people are going to not have to live in many McMansions and thinking that they deserve to make as much as they're making in order to pay off their mortgage. Are you hearing what I'm saying? You're going to have to live within your means. You don't necessarily deserve to live in the best part of town. You shouldn't need 2 incomes in order to survive. Now we're going to go back to a place where you only need 1 income. You're going to stay within your bracket, and you're going to make sure that you take care of all of the kids. Listen, I could fix your budget, even if you're getting laid off. If your husband is still working, but you're not working, we can reduce your lifestyle. I can fix your budget. Guess what? You ain't going to have to pay for daycare no more. The daycare workers ain't going to be making your son sassy, right? All of these things that's messing up our households, you just going to overwork because you want your own independence. You're going to have to humble yourself and stop telling your husband what he going to do and what he is. Everything is going to be right with the world. Everything is going to be right with the world once you get back into who it is that you're supposed to be. Everything is going to be right with the world. I'm telling you. We're going to get to it next segment. Everything going to be right with the world. I'm getting it. I'm going to get there. You ain't want to work like that anyway. You know how stressful you was. You know how frumpy you look. You know how tired you are. You keep on wearing them pants dresses and them pantsuits. You look dingy. Your hair is falling out. Your edges is ate up. You got the edge thief is coming to get you. The edge thief. We're praying against the edge thief. We're going to make you a lady again. We're going to put you in some reasonable clothes. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be able to be a mother to your children. Your children ain't going to be eating sugar all day, bouncing off the wall because all they know is to eat artificial foods all day. We're going to get people all the way back into their femininity. You ain't going to be taking no girls' trips, gossiping about people that you ain't supposed to be gossiping about. No, you're not going to be passing up the men that you're supposed to be with no more. We going to get everything back. When we say great reset, we're not talking about financially. We're talking about in our households. Yeah, we're going to have to start depending on men again, and men going to have to step up. Men going to have to step up. We got to take care of our families. We're going to have to explain to them, listen, baby, we're not supposed to be door dashing and going out every day. You're going to have to go to the grocery store. You're going to start meeting your neighbors. You don't know who your neighbors are no more. People going to spend more time at home. You're going to get more the job that you do get is going to be more of a relaxing feminine job. You're going to start being a school administrator. You're going to be participating in the county sessions. You're going to be relying on your husband to give you more direction and take care of business. Everything is going to get back to the right thing. Everything is going to be right in the world. I promise you, we're going to get there. It's going to take a couple of years for you to realize it, but you'll get there. You'll get there.
Within the department. We still don't know how many employees could be let go or have been laid off, but we do not expect uniformed military personnel to be impacted. This would affect civilian employees within the Defense Department. But Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth has already come out saying he supports cuts to the department. And so far, News Nation has tracked at least 18,000 layoffs of probationary workers across the federal government. NASA also coming out recently announcing that 5% of its workforce has accepted that federal buyout offer. So, Marky, really showing just the wide reach of this effort to downsize the federal workforce.
Yeah, and just staggering numbers that you lay out there, Tom. What more do we know about the lawsuit trying to prevent these layoffs?
Well, once again, President Donald Trump's team and the Department of Government Efficiency scored a legal win with the federal judge coming out and saying that those mass layoffs and those federal buyout offers can continue. This was a lawsuit that was filed by multiple different labor unions in federal court, and it called on the court to block the mass firings and buyout offers to federal workers.
Watch this. We're going to go over to USPS, because I want to talk about that really quickly before we go over to the masculinity. Man, I'm telling you, you're going to see a skyrocketing of marriages. You're going to see a skyrocketing of marriages. More people are going to start to come together, group economics, finding out who your mother, and you're going to start getting to know your mother-in-law and your father-in-law again. Your kids going to start calling you mommy instead of Sarah now. Yeah, I know some of y'all get called by y'all first names. You think that gentle parenting. No, you're going to find out how bad your kids are. The thing that we're going to start to fix our schools. You know how we're going to fix our schools? Because you're going to start going to parent-teacher conference again. You're going to stop cussing out the teacher because you're going to start to realize, oh, wait a minute, my kids is bad. My kids are bad. We're going to get back to the core things. See, this is God working in us. God working in us, God working with us. This is God.
To dissolve the leadership of the USPS and take control of the independent mail agency itself. Frank Holland joins us with more on that story right now.
Hey, good morning, Andrew. So this morning, we're watching shares of FedEx, UPS, and Amazon. Those are three companies that could be directly impacted if the White House takes control of the post office. A move that—
And I want to, and this is a part of, for all of my bag chasers, for everybody that's in the Patreon, link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. When we live stream this weekend, we are going to talk about this. We're going to talk about USPS, FedEx, United Parcel Service, Amazon, a possibility of privatizing our mail system and cutting costs so that we don't subsidize the USPS anymore. We're going to talk about this. This is going to be a big conversation that we talk about. The foundation of what we're doing is how we can benefit from these different government agencies being let go, what's going to happen when it comes to outsourcing, what companies are going to benefit from it, and how we can leverage our portfolio in order to make more money. So if you're not a part of the, actually, you know what? That's Stock Club. Shit. Got Block Club coming up. All right, Stock Club is coming up next week. We'll do Stock Club next week, Block Club this weekend, because I have been preparing to show y'all this also, but let's continue.
That could also impact the flow of trillions of dollars of e-commerce. According to reports, the president's considering firing the postal board and placing the post office under the Commerce Department. The post office is an independent agency with 6 bipartisan board members who are picked by the president and then confirmed by the Senate. The Postmaster General announced his plans to resign after leading the agency since 2020 through the pandemic and, of course, through 2 elections where we saw a big jump in voting by mail. President Trump's been highly critical of the post office before and after his election win and had these comments about postal privatization at a December 16th press conference.
There is talk about the Postal Service being taken private. You do know that. Not the worst idea I've ever heard. It really isn't. You know, it's a lot different today with between Amazon and UPS and FedEx and all the things that you didn't have.
And it is quite a bit different these days. So just for some context, UPS, FedEx, and Amazon, they've historically used the post office supply chain along with other companies out there to once again send trillions of dollars in packages through the post office. So bit more context. UPS signed a 5-year deal with the post office for air delivery last year. At the same time, the company said it would no longer use the post office for its SurePost Economy shipping service. That air contract, it was previously held by FedEx. On its most recent earnings call, CEO Raj Subramanian, he addressed post office privatization, saying it's important that parcel delivery is not subsidized by taxpayers. Parcel carriers overall, they've rushed to expand, leading to excess capacity in the market, according to ShipMatrix. So more context here. In 2024,
they absolutely is subsidized by taxpayers, but I'm going to get to that in a minute.
E-commerce capacity was about 120 million packages per day, while during the holiday peak, we saw volumes top out at right around 106 million packages per day. Back over to you.
We lose our ass.
We do. But the question is, what is the right answer? Is there some middle ground here?
I mean, in the UK, they privatized the Royal Mail.
Right.
That didn't work well in the beginning, but now it's working. It's a process. And the question is, you know, if you look at the prices for FedEx and UPS right now, it's extremely expensive to send stuff over there.
Frank, you know what this segment is called, right, Frank?
Frank and Frank.
Frankly speaking.
Or frankly speaking.
Even better.
Yeah,
frankly speaking.
By the way, I didn't tell Robert
Confusingly.
Frank this. I already filed the
To be
trademarks
frank.
and everything, so that's coming at some point.
Robert Holland or Frank, if we...
We'll have a graphic built for the next time we do this, gentlemen.
We should get animation. Other places have really cool animation.
2 years.
Yeah, that's nice. I do think that under the Trump administration, within the next 4 years, probably within the next 2 years, they're going to start the process of eventually dissolving and outsourcing most of the things that our United States Post Office does. We are subsidizing the post office. We continue to infuse them with cash. And I think that there's other companies that do it better than us. And I think that the legacy cost that's tied to, I mean, even the process of them getting updated vehicles, man, it's been a bid process for a long time. They got them stupid Bumblebee vehicles that ain't even really deployed yet, just so they can try to deliver mail. The liability issues, if you see what's happening over in Chicago and post office people dying and postmaster keys is being stolen and stuff like that. I think that the federal government wants to get out of the mail business. I think that the federal government want to get out of a lot of these businesses that they don't do more efficiently than a lot of these private services. Amazon, I believe that's one of the reasons why you see their CEO, I think Andy Jasper, he's been bowing the knee. I think that UPS and FedEx and all of these other companies, DHS, they are all going to take segments of the post office eventually, and it's going to go away. Or at the very least, you're going to see a very, very downsized version, the most basic of services, Those are the things that the post office is going to handle, but the larger things, I think that they're going to be handled by other companies. But I'll talk about it on the next Stock Club. We'll break it down. Make sure you guys hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let me read some of these super chats, and then we're going to go over to CNN and JD Vance and I'm talking about masculinity. Shout out to Mr. Martinez, says, good morning, AD and the Bag Chasers. We're unburdened by what has been. Salute to y'all. Salute to everybody that's tuned in and all 5,000 of y'all on YouTube. I appreciate y'all. 392Q says, the Democrats' issue is them not asking why Trump is doing what he's doing. They know why. They don't have to ask why. They say what he's doing, but not why. They want a woman of color as president. Candace Owens, the only one credible. I don't think Candace Owens would ever run for president of the United States of America. Wyatt says, who was in charge of Doge before Elon Musk? And why do Democrats have a problem with saving American people money? They have a problem with Trump. The USPS has been losing billions going back to 2006 and 7. I'm glad it's on the radar, and I hope it finally gets fixed. I think it's going away. The majority of it is going away. Democrats, let's create some charges on him so that we can call him a criminal. And none of that worked at all. Anyways, somebody said, Anton, are you going to the Brexit event tomorrow? Y'all have asked me that like 80,000 times inside of the chat. It is at a church in Roseville, Michigan. Roseville, Michigan is one of those places. Remember yesterday I was telling y'all about the prototype white woman that black men talk to in Michigan? Roseville is one of those places. I used to have a job. When I first got out of high school, before I got into the plant, I used to work in Roseville, Michigan. I used to work at an auto plant, a supplier over there in Roseville. Some real interesting people over there. But it's in a church over in Roseville, and I looked at the speakers. I don't know if that's something that I'm going to attend. I don't know if that's my thing. So I'm going to go ahead and let that Brexit event do their thing. I got to do an interview tomorrow, and we'll see what happens. So, yeah, Roseville, Michigan. Anton, have you unlocked the full power of your Hellcat? No, I don't even think my Hellcat has. I'm not sure if my Hellcat even has 250 miles on it. It's in there. It's right there. It's right there. See it? That's the Hellcat right there. All right. So, nope. It's in there. And my Hellcat don't even have 250 miles on it. So it's in there. It's in the garage. Not being driven, just sitting there. It's on a trickle charger though. So the battery is good and everything like that. Y'all want me to start up the Hellcat? Let me see. Hold on. Give me a second. It's kill switch. Is that in there? It's in there. It's in there. So, anyways, gotta have you an American muscle car. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Let's pivot for a minute and let's talk about masculinity. JD Vance said at CPAC that you're not sassy or you're not a bad person just because you're a man. And then CNN took that and they started to have a conversation about it, and they wanted to They wanted to actually have a conversation about it, so I wanted to add that as a part of the live stream towards the end of the show. All right, make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. This is what he had to say about it.
You mentioned raising these children into good people and also into good citizens that can contribute to society and to the world. We had so many young people come out and support Donald Trump and JD Vance
and thank you.
This past election. So what is your message? And what is your message to the young men?
You know, I guess my message to
young and just a lot of people would like to say, oh, no, there's no scat packs. This is a red key. If you don't have a red key, then don't talk to me, okay? If you don't have a red key for your stuff, and don't say that on the back, all right, you got to have a red key. This is a part of being a man. I'm glad that we had this conversation during this subject. This is a part of being a man. You got to, at some point, get you a muscle car. I like electric cars. I like all of that stuff. Men like toys. You got to get you a muscle car at some point in your life with a V8. I like Porsches, the flat six, the turbo six, all of that. Get you a muscle car at some point in your life as a man. Get you a muscle car, drive it like the wheels fell off, and get that out of your system, right? That should be required for every young man. Don't you sit there and talk about how your Prius get 89 miles to the gallon. Get you a car that gets you 10, 12 miles to the gallon and get you a muscle car, all right? All right, let's talk about it. Let's get back to JD Vance.
People generally is we're trying to make your life better. And that is the simple thrust of President Trump's policy is we want you to be able to buy a home. We want you to be able to work a good job. We want you to be able to raise your kids, like I said, according to the values that you believe in. And we want you to be able to build a nice life in this country that all of us love. That is what we're trying to do. And, you know, you guys more than anybody, more than me, I'm talking about people under the age of 30 in particular, you guys are going to have to deal with the consequences of good policy or of bad policy for much longer than the rest of us. And I want you guys to think about the future and ask yourself, do you want safe communities? Do you want a prosperous life? Do you want to be able to work a good job? Or do you want that job shipped off to China or somewhere else? We're fighting for you every single day. We want you to help fight for us because we've got to win. Not just the policy battles of the next couple of months. We've got to win the midterm elections in a couple of years. We need you. We recognize that we need you, and we're fighting for you every single day. And I think, you know, you asked me, you know, my message to young men is I think that our culture sends a message to young men that you should suppress every masculine urge. You should try to cast aside your family. You should try to suppress what makes you a young man in the first place. And I think that my message to young men is don't allow this broken culture to send you a message that you're a bad person because you're a man, because you like to tell a joke, because you like to have a beer with your friends, or because you're competitive.
This is why I like these people that are in office, because we are no longer hugging trees, and it's okay if you decide to piss standing up. You don't have to sit down just to take a piss anymore. You don't have to go into a bathroom that's a woman. It's okay if you get you a beer. It's okay to go shoot pool with your friends. It's okay to go out here and hoop and play football and get hurt and scratch a knee and ride a bike and let the chain come off and you learn how to change a tire. Man, there's so many guys out here that don't even know how to change a tire, bro. They don't even know where to go unless they go on the internet to go and charge up their car if they got a dead battery. It's so many guys that's 24, 25, 30 years old. They ain't never been to Ace Hardware. They don't even know what it feels like to build nothing. They ain't never been to Lowe's, Home Depot. They ain't never been to O'Reilly's Auto Shop. They ain't never been to Murray's. They don't even know what Murray's is. They don't know none of this stuff, bro. A lot of these guys ain't never got their hands dirty, and they keep telling us to do gentle parenting and all of this stuff. And I'm so thankful. This is what I mean by the Great Reset. I'm so thankful that we now have a president and a vice president that's saying it's okay to be a man. It's not toxic. It's okay to want to go and talk to a woman. That's not toxic. You know what I'm saying? Like, enough of the BS, enough of the pretending, enough trying to dress your kids in dresses. Your kid don't have to be in a dress, fam. They don't have to embrace their feminine side. No, push them all the way masculine. No Barbie dolls for men. No more. We done with that. It's not toxic. Nothing is wrong with you because you like to do man stuff. Because you like to explore by yourself. You got a crush on that little girl over there and you get a little jealous because you don't know that all of us got that territorial spirit. That need to be nurtured. That shouldn't be suppressed. No, you shouldn't say anything. No. Go holler at her and tell her, man, listen, I don't like the way you did that. It's okay to get in a fight when you a little kid. It's going to give you some character. It's going to make you okay. If you get into a little skerfuffle, you're not going to die. You'll be fine. You will be fine. Get a little dirt under your knuckles, all of that other type, under your fingernails and your knuckles. It's cool. It's cool. And then when they grow up to be adults, they know how to manage it more effectively because they've been put into sports. They've been put into taekwondo. They've been put in they've learned how to manage their emotions more effectively because they've experienced it, and they know how to be assertive when it's necessary, and they know when to pull back because it's not about whether or not you punking me, but it's about the fact that I don't believe that it's necessary to take your life right now, but I know what I can do to you because I grew up in a masculine household. It's okay to be a man with a strong father, not raised by a mother alone. You're not a bad person because you're a man. Let them grow up. But too often in society today, politicians been scared to say the right thing. Real talk, politicians been scared to say the right thing. But JD Vance, they don't care. It's okay to have a beer with your friends, big dog. Go hunting.
Our message, the cultural message, and I think the president's and mine is the exact opposite, but our cultural message is, I think that it wants to turn everybody, into, whether male or female, into androgynous idiots who think the same, talk the same, and act the same. Yep. We actually think God made male and female for a purpose, and we want you guys to thrive as young men and as young women, and we're going to help with our public policy to make it possible to do that.
I agree 100%. We watch strong man movies. We watch Commando, worked on our own cars. My father said that I couldn't. You know why my father didn't want me to get a new car? Is because he knew that if I bought, first of all, I had to make it affordable so I can only get what I worked for. And on top of that, and I'm going to come to another clip because I want to go over to CNN. On top of that, he knew that if I bought my own car, which my first car in 2000, 99, 2000, my very first car, I bought a 1986 Buick Regal. Man, I had to work on that car so much. I learned so much about cars. I had to repair it, change the carburetor, put the 4-barrel in there, cold air intakes. You had to understand the difference between a 305 and a 350 Chevy, small block. You know what I'm saying? You had to go in and you learn the difference between posi traction and all of that stuff, right? You learned how to work on a vehicle. You understood exactly where to put the coolant in, or in the summertime, you can actually put water in it instead of coolant. But if it didn't get cold, it could freeze because it'll lock up your engine block because you then got water going through there instead of coolant. So you had to flush it and then put the coolant in there because I couldn't afford to go and get the coolant because it had a leak. Like, you had to figure that junk out. You know what I'm saying? And so I had to go, and I wanted duals on my car. So then I went and had it cut off, and then I put the Flowmasters on the back. You know what I'm saying? So you learned these things. And he forced me to go out there and do it myself. He wouldn't work on it with me. Hey, go and look it up and go and take care of yourself. Or you give me direction, go and take care of yourself. And you cherish things. You actually cared about your stuff more. You know what I'm saying? But now I want to get my son the best car. I want to make sure. And it's like, you making him a girl, bro. He got to call roadside assistance because he's stuck. You're making him a female. You're making him a girl. Right now, you're making him a girl. Real talk. But CNN has some thoughts on the culture of masculinity and what JD Vance was saying. And I haven't seen this, so we're seeing it for the first time, but let's go ahead and explore it.
But I think it's power under control. I think it's knowing who you are and not having to brag about it. I think it's being able to take what you want, but having the discipline to actually ask for it. I think it's being able to relate to women in a way where you understand what they want, but you have enough discipline and wisdom to kind of stand back and let them figure it out for themselves. I think that masculinity is a work in progress. It's not.
Masculinity is a work in progress. All right. I don't know what I'm hearing, bro. I just very clearly described to y'all what masculinity is, but we're going to see it from their lens.
Doesn't have any one definition. When he talks about telling jokes, I'm wondering, telling jokes about what? Telling jokes about
that's what
who?
I'm wondering.
What are you talking about?
Let me play this other part of what he said, because I think it also fills out the picture of where he thinks Trump fits into this.
I think this is why young men in particular are so, they're so inspired by President Trump, is because
y'all want a car channel. I can turn the Room 9 channel into the Room 9 channel might just become the masculinity channel. Everything men related, tearing stuff up, being out and having fun, cars, driving them fast, trying to figure out what it is that we can do and what we can't do, what we gonna buy and what we not gonna buy. Maybe that's what we make Room 9. It's just a fun, masculine vlog, show you what's going on channel. Whatever. We don't even care about money on that channel. We just gonna turn it into what we gonna turn. Nah, I like that. I like that.
he doesn't allow the media to tell him he can't make a joke or he can't have an original thought. President Trump just says what's on his mind. That's a damn good thing, and it's a good example to set for young men in American culture.
I think you would agree that Trump also insults people in childish ways and doesn't take jokes well. I mean, these are also things that Trump does. I mean, is that the role model?
I think President Trump likes to exaggerate on a lot of things. I mean, we've seen it all along. But you have a situation here where you look at the campaign, the young vote was huge for Donald J. Trump. It was huge. And what caused that? And it's what JD's talking about.
Ladies, y'all can come over to the channel too. We love y'all. Listen, the masculinity channel was also going to be us having women. Let me be quiet. We're going to talk about it. We'll get there. I might even let the bag chasers, the Patreon members, be the ones that name it. I don't know if we got to change it from Room 9 to something else if we're going to make it the masculinity channel, y'all. All right?
Where did Donald Trump go? He went to the UFC fights. He had Hulk Hogan with him. I can go on and on and on.
Paragon of masculinity is Hulk Hogan.
All these things, which brought in the young vote to Donald J.
You
Trump.
mean the young male vote? I assume.
Young male vote. I'm sorry.
Trump, to be clear, Trump lost young voters.
He what?
He lost young voters.
Yes, but he made massive gains among.
We have the numbers. I mean, he did better among young male voters, to Jamal's point, against Harris than he did against Biden. So that was the change.
No thanks to the black community.
Look,
black men voted in mass.
Rugged, resilient, reliable in my mind. Okay, but I think that, and I was just saying this earlier, that, and I think John Fetterman's also echoed this point, that the left really tried to define what bro culture is and foist it upon young men. If you read Barstool Sports, you're evil. If you got a kick out of those Coors Light ads from the 90s with the cheerleaders and twins, you're a misogynist. If you do drink beers with your friends and you do tell stupid jokes or say some stupid story, then you feel that way permanently. There is sort of no grace to the boys will be boys mentality. There are limits, of course, we know that. But
nah, we don't need no grace no more. We just gonna do what we want to do when we want to do it. We're gonna buy what we want. We're gonna drive fast. We're gonna have ladies inside of the car with us. We just gonna have a good time. We're gonna buy motorcycles. We're gonna do whatever we want to do when we want to do it. When we want to do it. We're gonna build a whole compound. That's what I'm gonna do. Next thing I'm building. I'm gonna build a whole compound just around bro culture, bro code.
I don't think there's been so much less grace being shown toward what it means to be the sort of perimeter things of what it means to be a man in today's world?
Like, I don't want to speak for y'all because I'm clearly I'm a woman, but like, it seems like when accountability is introduced, that's when we get this entire lecture about what it means to be a man. See, the problem with Barstool, as you mentioned, maybe it was the rape jokes. Maybe it was all those kind of things that was the thing that people were a little bit disgusted by. Yeah. And it seems like every time I hear somebody say cancel culture or they're not letting me be a man, I always wonder, what is it that you really want to say? What is it that you're being held back?
Don't ask. Don't ask, don't tell. Don't ask what you don't want to know. Don't ask, don't tell. Don't ask, don't tell. All right? Don't ask, don't keep asking me for what you don't really want.
Back from saying that you think is so poignant that you can't say, what is the joke that is so damn funny that you need to tell people?
If you saw and I'm sure it's similar to maybe, I don't know how frequent you guys are on Instagram, but if you saw the memes that are sent around into friend groups, they're just inappropriate. You couldn't show the memes. That's what I'm talking about. And by the way,
I don't care about those kind of things. I got this idea that we're trying to limit male expression or that there is some kind of force that's saying like, oh, you guys can't hang out with your friends. Look, my husband, I see how they hang out. Like, I don't really care about those things. But I think what he's defining there is that it's something a little bit more nefarious because
you don't know what we really think. You don't want to know what we really saying. So you see the thing that your husband presents to you. You don't want to, y'all want to know. I'm going to listen. The new channel is going to explain, it's going to show you what we really thinking in real time. See, I'm not one of those guys that got a leash on me. You can't control me. You can't tell me, oh my God, you got to censor yourself because your girl going to get mad at you. No, she not. She like that. And see, that's the thing that I realized personally is that women like real men. They don't like, see, y'all so used to modifying yourselves based off of the fact that women like to talk to their homeboy as their girlfriend, and that's why they got so many gay friends. And so y'all think that y'all got to be more like them in order to be accepted. Women like men. They like manly men. They may not even say it. They may not even know it until they experience it. But most women have not experienced what it's like to be under a man's man. Dudes that ain't checking for what it is that you think. I don't give a piss about coming to your girl's party. We don't have to go do everything together and dress in similar pajamas. We don't have to do that. But guess what? When you get in your car in the morning, you're going to have gas in it. Your tires ain't going to be having a flat in it. You ain't going to have the icon on your dash, the check engine light, and you're not going to have the low tire light on your car. It's going to be clean. You're going to be able to do what you got to do. And I will see you when I see you. And when I see you, I might just slap your butt and say, come here. Come here, girl. Oh my God, what you doing? You been doing squats? I'll see you, baby. I'm going to holler at you later, though, all right? Bro, hey, man, are you slapping your girl's butt like that? We going to be looking at you? Oh, you're not a part of the Bro Code channel, huh? Okay, I got you. Anyways, y'all out here riding around on these Altimas, and you ain't got no bumper, you ain't got no license, you ain't got no registration, you struggling, your credit cards is due. That's because you're not with a man's man. You keep sharing. You keep asking for a partner. You ain't want a husband. See, your partner is making you go 50-50. Then you wondering why you get all of these feminine men that meet you and they say, you know what? Hey, baby, let me take you out. And then they ask for separate checks because you ain't used to being around no men. You don't know what it feels like to be around men. That's why you keep having to split the check. That's why you paying for your own date to go on a date with men that was raised by their mothers because they don't even look at you the same. They know you ain't trying to give up no love. They know you ain't giving up no box at the end of the night. They ain't trying to spend no money on you. We gonna teach you how to be women through being men. We gonna teach you how to be women through being men. We gonna show you the difference between a hoe and a housewife. We gonna oh man, this is gonna be fun. But your tires ain't gonna be bald though. And you ain't gonna be slipping in the snow. You ain't gonna be slipping in the snow. We gonna get there. We gonna get there. Anyways, somebody said, what a caveman. I know you ain't got no man. I know you ain't got no man. You probably scissor kicking, ain't you? You got a girlfriend. You got 2 girlfriends. As a matter of fact, if you got a man, Crystal Lee, I'm pretty sure that your man is probably on the down low. You used to dealing with sassy, man. Your man be on Grindr. Your man be on Grindr. What a caveman. I am a caveman. That's all I want to do is make money, party hard, play with my toys, and then play with you at the end of the night. That's all I care. I don't care about none of this other stuff. I am a caveman. I am not a person. Let me tell you something. I am not a person that's trying to understand your mental health. I am not going to therapy. I am not going to fix myself. I'm not going to do none of that. Everything that you say that toxic masculinity is, I embrace it in my core. I don't care about anything. I like shoot 'em up, bang, bang movies. And then I want to see you at the end of the night so that I can do an inspection. And then we going to make sweet love. And then I'm going to make you. You ain't never been dealt with the way that I'm going to deal with you. I promise you. I promise you ain't never been dealt with the way that I am a caveman to my core. That's all I care about. I don't want to learn no new languages. I'm not interested in educating myself any more than I already have. I don't want to learn what women think, and I'm not going to the show to see the latest Tyler Perry movie. I don't care. I don't care. I am genuinely a caveman to my core. That's what I am. That's what I am. I don't care nothing about you. I'm not trying to pander to women. I'm not trying to tell them what they want to hear. I'm not trying to learn your love languages. I don't care about your love languages. You know what I got? I know what your love language is. This is your love language right here. This is your love language right here. This is your love language. Care nothing about my love language is effective communication. Your love language is go shopping because you're getting on my nerves and I don't feel like dealing with your attitude right now. That's your love language. See car, get in, full gas tank, go. I'm not learning your love language. I don't even care about what you think. I don't even care if you come or go. Don't you know that there's somebody else that's going to replace you as soon as you leave? Anyways, I'm telling you the truth. I don't care about none of that. I don't care about none of what you're talking about. I am a caveman. Ask my wife. She'll tell you. Anton is a caveman. Absolutely. 100%. I'm a caveman. And I'm not paying you to come. I'm paying you to leave. Let me read some of these super chats and then we'll go from there. Shout out to Ash. Ash says, make women wives again. God knows my 27-year-old son needs a trad wife. Told him trad wives like your mom are rare today, but in high demand, more conservative Gen Z men. Shout out to my dog, Ash. I appreciate you. Urban Gardner Freedom Fighter says, Bloomberg Soros government is a cancer in our city. Whole research Bloomberg for new mayors, class 2023, Brandon Johnson, all mayors resisting our grads. My dog, Mr. Hunter, I appreciate you. A.R. Smitty says, a 30-year-old that doesn't know how to change a tire is scary work. You'd be surprised. It's a lot of them. They don't even know which way in order to turn it. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to get me a Cadillac Escalade B6. Get that joint. Get it. If you can afford it, get it. I tell that to my wife every day, stop babying our son. I met this white couple who are bragging that they were putting dolls in their son's room to balance out his sexuality and embrace femininity. That's crazy. That's insane. Yes, we would love a car channel. Bet. Coming. CNN still trauma bonding 3 months later. AD, they were trying to turn everyone sweet on that Room 9 channel. Can we talk about my side chick popping up at my side chick house? J Dub says they want men to eat croissants, sip tea, and with the pinky finger, and drive a Prius. They just want to stand on the side of the road with a pant leg up They want us standing on the side of the road with a pan lick up, looking for someone to stop and help us. They want us feminized so bad. Stop the nonsense. J-Dub, I appreciate you for the 50 ball. Ash been holding me down all day, says men for centuries talk like Trump and many countless masculine men throughout world history. What changed? Men in suits, politicians ushered women into men's spaces, workplace, sports, military, boardroom, courts. It's called feminism. Chris James, my dog, says room 9R. Resilience, ownership, opportunistic, mastery, 9 pillars of masculinity. I like that. I like that. Manuel says, ladies, here's a secret about men. If y'all knew half of the stuff we think about randomly as men, y'all would lock us up in dungeons and then come in there with us. Another issue is women have invaded men's spaces and sanctuaries. No sports bars, sports events, fishing spots, camping. All of it is occupied by women now. Shout out to my dog, Artifacts. Anton, we must discredit these sassy black men and the black women that lift them up as symbols of black male masculinity. Stay on your square. You know me. I'm me. I'm just me. AD, telling my husband Ephraim an early birthday shout out. His birthday is 2/23. Love and appreciate him, especially our two girls, and mostly all I have to do, his words, is take care of the girls. Shout out to you. Shout out to your husband. Happy birthday, Ephraim. You have a phenomenal wife in Vaughn. Keep her, take care of her, make sure that she's in the best space possible, and she absolutely is going to make sure that she raise y'all girls the right way. Listen, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I think that y'all are the greatest on earth. We're going to continue this masculinity conversation tonight on the After Hours channel. I hope that y'all are tuned in, and I absolutely hope that y'all subscribe to both here, Anton Daniels, and the After Hours channel. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Now I know what the other channel should be. I'm going to holler at y'all later. Peace.